We begin this broadcast by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which this match will be played today and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. We extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples listening.
One state.
And they will come from everywhere.
4 days.
This will be special.
9 matches.
You just cannot take your ears off this game.
And all 18 clubs for a round of football like we've never seen before.
We're going to put on one hell of a show.
Snaps across the body and the party continues.
This is AFL Gather Round, live from South Australia.
Gather around, everybody, and listen to this brand new groove. It's going downtown in this party. Bring your friends and family.
Gathers bursts away, kicks the goal.
This is Gather Round.
The celebrations as they come from everywhere.
Grandstand AFL.
100% pure footy.
Perkins at the hand past the stringer. He's going to go the barrel. Don't tell me. Jake Stringer from Blueberry.
Here it comes, here it comes.
Cartmart follows up, spin move, sells the dummy for an early goal of the year. 55 out, he's given this plenty. That's a magnificent strike of the football.
AFL Gather Round.
Something big is coming, something big is coming.
He stops, drops, fires and goals.
Something big is coming, something big is coming.
What a piece of individual class.
Something big is coming.
Biggest moment of his life. 55, loads up all the way home.
Fill your lungs, are you ready for it?
High altitude flight from Showboat.
All the tricks on display.
AFL.
Two-step bang.
This kid is going places.
Puts the Jets on and kicks it on the run. Boy, does he love it.
He launches an absolute rocket.
Oh, the home fans like that. From 50, he goes whack.
One bounce at 40, one bounce at 20, and he goes.
Loads up with that right foot. Cannon on the right boot. Floats it through.
Their season's well and truly alive.
This is AFL Gather Round on radio
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listener.
Something big is coming, I know.
Norwood Oval plays host to the penultimate fixture of Gather Round as the Hawks and the Giants look to bounce back from disappointing Easter weekend losses. The future of the game is on display this afternoon as the Giants unveil number 1 pick Aaron Cadman and the Hawks debut Seamus Mitchell. There are no late changes. The subs for this afternoon's contest: Harry Ralston for the Giants and Cam McKenzie for the Hawks. Aaron Bryans with you to call the action. All-Australian Crow Scott Thompson and Port Adelaide Premiership player and coach Stephen Williams with me for the call, as is Neil Cross, who's downstairs, so we'll start with him in the Giants camp. He's with Jeremy Laidler.
Well, Jeremy, thanks for joining us. Beautiful sunny day. Certainly didn't look like it was going to be as good as this yesterday, so it doesn't change things much for you?
No, absolutely wrapped with the weather. It's turned it on for us today, so it was looking a little bit miserable over the last couple of days, but we're really excited to, play on a local footy ground and play against opposition who's young and up and coming as well, so it'll be a really good battle today.
1 win, 3 losses. You're in pretty much every game. But what have you learned from those from the rounds so far through the first month?
Yeah, it's a little bit frustrating. We've sort of been roundabouts, but we sort of knew leading up that this was going to happen. We've got a whole new coaching group, whole new game plan we're trying to implement, and we didn't have much time to do it, so we knew there was going to be sort of little areas that we weren't going to be perfect at straight away. So we know we're close. We just got to do it consistently for a whole game, and like we've pushed. Carlton's going to be a really good side this year. Essendon are showing their bit, and we've been really close to those teams. So we know we're close, but we've obviously got to do it for longer.
What's the coach's main message in that respect? Just that we are close and we will keep persisting with what we want to do?
Yeah, it's just trust the process, really, the old saying. Everyone says it, but it's just about reviewing it and doing it better for longer. And that's what the good teams do. They do their game plan for longer than other teams, so that's how they win games.
You've seen Adam Kingsley up close, as you say, new coaching group. Is it looking, as he's starting out, pretty much with a new group to bring through, does it bring you closer to thinking maybe I want to be a head coach, or are you thinking, I'll stay where I am at the moment?
It's an interesting question. I look at Adam and he's done so much time in the game, so he's learned his craft over, what's he been coaching for, 15 years. So obviously he played for a long time, then he's gone into coaching, so I'm in no rush. I just love learning new things under a new coach, assistant coaches as well. Like Brent Montgomery's got absolute knowledge out of anyone. Ben Hart, he's unreal and done his time as well. So I'm just learning so much as I go and trying to put my experiences onto the players and what I can do to help us implement the game plan to get some winning scores.
You're looking after the forwards. Do you look and say, OK, it's the midfield's the problem, it's not my group, it's the midfield that's been causing us some issues of how you get the ball to us?
Nah. Well, we've got our warts. It's a whole team thing, really. We've obviously, as a forward group, we've had games where we've been up and about and games where we've sort of gone missing. So I suppose it's just a consistency across the board where, we'd like more ball inside 50, but you're seeing games, you just want to try and keep the ball in your half for as long as possible to be able to score. And we've had some games where we sort of look really promising going inside 50, but then we've had other games where we might have just been bombing the ball too much. So it's just getting that balance about, how much time can we spend in our forward half and then try and score off that.
Just on this ground, I mean, it has to be said, it's different. It's a suburban Adelaide ground, but among the Adelaide grounds, it's also smaller than most grounds. So do you change things at all as to, especially, if you get the ball in the forward half, obviously it's easier to lock in because it's not as big?
Yeah, it is smaller, that's for sure. We've done our research on the ground and obviously spent a bit of time down at Geelong, so I know playing on a tighter ground with the experiences of that, and you see a lot of ball playing at Geelong. There's a lot of balls that go outside, out on the floor a lot, so it's just trying to adapt to the conditions, and it's just another game of footy, really. You don't want to look too much into the dimensions of the ground and focus on that too much because you still want to implement the way you want to play, and ultimately it's, you've got to compete.
And just a word on Aaron Cadman, number 1 pick last year. He gets his first game, 5 games in. What can we expect from him?
Oh, it's exciting, isn't it? He's did his time in the VFL, and he's just so raw. Like, he's a young kid coming out of, he did a couple of years apprenticeship with his old man, and he's learnt the roots of the real world. But now he's sort of played a few games against some men in the VFL, but now it's another level, and I'm just so excited to see what he can show the fans and show the club what, number 1 pick's got. And Kenny Hinkley touched on it last night about Horn Francis. I thought he nailed it on the head about you can't put too much pressure on these kids. They're 18, 19 years old, and you just got to let them flourish at their own pace. And if you put too much pressure on them, it's just unfair on the kids. So, we just hope he has, a really good day, and who knows, it's an ultimate learning experience for him, and he could show up and have a really good game. He could, not touch it, but we'll just keep persisting with him, and I'm just so excited he's out here.
He is a big kid, so as they say, the taller players, they take a little bit longer to settle, but he is a big kid for his age. So is he absolutely ready physically as well as what you've seen mentally?
Oh, he's a big lad. You love to see those big lads flourish, but I'm not sure if anyone's ready when they sort of rock up here. We put Rouston out here a couple of weeks ago, and was he ready? We just want to see him play and bring their strengths to the table. So obviously he's a tall young fella, and he's got some time to put in the gym, but the strengths he's got is unbelievable. So we'll just sort of see how it pans out today, and hopefully gets on the end of a few.
Well, we hope to see the Orange Tsunami go this afternoon. Thanks for your time.
No, thanks for having me.
Great to have Jeremy Laidler downstairs with Neil Cross as the Giants make their way out onto Norwood Oval. 1-3, as are their opponents, the Hawks, this afternoon. It is a Giants home game, but the majority of the crowd here at Norwood, which will push towards 10,000, are in the brown and gold at the moment, favouring the Hawks. Very excited to see Aaron Cadman out there this afternoon. Aaron Bryan's with him for the call alongside Scott Thompson and Stephen Williams. David McKay is standing by with the Hawks. So Crossy's going to run across the ground to get to him. In the meantime, score check between Geelong and West Coast. The Cats lead the Eagles by 47 points with 5 minutes to play. 17-7, 109 to 9-8, 62. They're blowing them out of the water there. 4 goals to Cameron and Hawkins for the Cats, and obviously still plenty of time to play. The later fixture in the doubleheader, the Pies and the Saints, which could be the best fixture of the round. If you do want to hear any call across the weekend, across the remainder of the AFL season, you can jump on the ABC Listen app, download that on the App Store, and you can hear any call available to you there. Crossy's made his way over to David McKay, so I'll throw it back down to you, Crossy.
Thanks, Aaron. Well, David, development role at a rebuilding club, I guess building from the ground up, you've seen that happen. What's it been like at Hawthorn?
Oh, look, it's a really exciting time to be at Hawthorn. Obviously a lot of change over the last couple of years, so putting together a list that we're trying to, I guess, contend as quick as we can and develop these young players, put them on a fast track to success, and we're certainly aiming to do that. And it's been really exciting to be a part of that and try and build that from the ground up.
A lot of responsibility on you, your official title, development coach. What does that mean? In fact, how many players are you looking at in terms of trying to develop them through to better league footballers?
Oh, look, clearly, with the profile of our list, we've got a number of young players, and the demographic, has changed significantly. So, we've got a huge focus on development. That's the way we've got to sort of approach things at the moment. Really try and develop these young players as quickly as we can. We feel like we're making inroads with that. We look at a team like Adelaide at the moment, who have had a number of years where they've sort of been, progressing steadily, and we're only sort of seeing the rewards of that with them, right now. So we understand, we're putting in a lot of hard work, a lot of good work, and we understand it might take some time for us to see the results, but we're really confident of the track that we're on.
Sam Mitchell is a coach, very steady in traffic as a player. Is he like that as a coach, just seeing the big picture and let's not worry about some of the details? We'll get down to that later.
Yeah, absolutely. Sam's really clear and concise with his messaging and what he wants from the playing group, and really setting the standard around what we need to achieve to be. And he's obviously had a great career as a player and had a lot of success. But he did start in a similar vein, coming through when Hawthorn were building in that time. So he's seen the full gamut of, what it entails, and that's really valuable for our playing group.
And in general, though, what has to change? I mean, you will get experience, but in terms of game style and what you're doing, are you satisfied that the players are getting there?
Yeah, as I said, we're making progress, even though at times that can be difficult to measure, in terms of results. And, we saw last week we played a great half of footy and then fell away for a quarter, and, against a really top quality team, we're going to get hurt. So, we understand where we're at, but we're working really hard to make those marginal gains as we go. And, as I said, we're really confident we're making those gains, even though at times you don't see the reward of that at the moment.
Well, good luck today. It'll be different, that's for sure, in this suburban ground, but good luck.
Yeah, thanks. We're looking forward to it.
Great to have former Adelaide Crow, now Hawthorn assistant David McKay downstairs with Neil Cross. The call coming in a few minutes' time between the Giants and Hawthorn here at Norwood Oval. No late changes. The subs, Rouston for the Giants and McKenzie for the Hawks. Aaron Bryan's with you alongside Neil Cross, your experts Scott Thompson and Stephen Williams. It's a big game for both these clubs, gents. Good afternoon. 1-3, and the Giants, realistically, I guess, with their list structure, feel like they could probably play finals, and Hawthorn in the midst of a rebuild. Both would love a victory this afternoon.
Yeah, thanks, Aaron. You're right. It's a huge game for both teams in the context of the season, and more looking at Norwood Oval at the moment, it's looking a treat. And we heard before the game Jeremy Laidler talk about the dimensions of the ground and how important gaining field position's going to be. Again, with the width of the oval and how many balls we might see travel out on the full, be interesting to see how that pans out. But yeah, the dynamic of both lists, a lot of youth injected into Hawthorn's team, guys that we haven't seen much of in the past, and new coaches at both clubs. I'm sure they've had their challenges in the first 3 to 4 rounds, Stephen, and both no doubt looking for a win today.
Yeah, but both sides have shown at times this year that they can play some great footy. We saw the Hawks blow the Bombers out the water early in that first game of the year. Then we saw against the Cats last week. They were really impressive for 30 minutes of the game. But then, which happens with younger players, they drop away a little bit with their concentration and their fitness, and the more experienced sides can start to get on top. And that's probably where you look at the Giants. You look through their midfield, and with the experience of the likes of Cornelio, Tom Green in there, Kelly, they've got some gun players that have played a lot of good footy, and if they can get on top, as we saw in the game on Friday night between Freo and the Gold Coast, if you can get on top through the middle, get the ball into your forward line quickly, it's amazing how the scoreboard can turn over. So a fantastic day for footy. The Oval's in terrific nick, so hopefully we get as an exciting game as we did on Friday night.
It's been a funny old season for the Giants. So they won their first game against Adelaide in that 36-degree heat, had successive losses to West Coast, Carlton and Essendon, only by an average margin of 14 points. So it doesn't sound like a lot. It sounds like they were competitive, but the last two, their opponents were incredibly inaccurate and probably should have blown them out. So maybe it's looking a bit more favourable than it should, and they're actually maybe not that great of a side.
Yeah, you do question how well they are actually travelling. If you go right back to round one, the Crows were well on top throughout the first half of that game and probably should have been further in front, and you could argue it should have been game over by half-time. And, you know, in recent weeks, yeah, the margins haven't been huge, but you take the two greens out of their side, you know, and then Stephen touched on their midfield experience, which probably haven't been delivering as much as we expect. But the two greens, if you take them out, they're certainly lacking depth as far as blokes standing up and playing their roles.
Yeah, Tom Green was fantastic last week against a barrage of Essendon midfielders. And you look up forward, Jesse Hogan, he's playing some reasonable footy, just not getting a lot of opportunities. And I'm sure he would have looked at the sky this afternoon and thought, well, this is my opportunity. You know, there's a lot of wind around. The ball's there for the taking as far as a tall marking forward goes. So if he can get going up there and Toby Green, is there any more exciting forward to watch than Toby Green? His ability to mark the ball high in the air or snap off the ground. He's one of the great footballers of the AFL competition. So really looking forward to those two big guys. And then when you throw young Aaron Cadman down there, you know, the #1 draft pick, they talk about a young Jeremy Cameron. So there's a lot of pressure there, but it's going to be exciting to see his journey start here today at Norwood.
The Hawks, meanwhile, Steve, another funny old team, considering they've got an incredibly young list and are rebuilding. The #1 centre bounce team in the competition, and that's their #1 score source as well. But we saw last week against the Cats, they could only bring it for so long, and they got completely rolled in the third term. They ended up coughing up 15 goals to 1 in the second half, and they've conceded 24 goals to 1 in third terms this year. It's a worry that they can't seem to play a full 4 quarters.
No, that's what happens when you know, the Hawks made a conscious decision to pretty much get rid of a lot of still pretty good players. You know, they let Mitchell go, they let Amira go. So these are the guys that probably give you that confidence and help you as the younger players start to tire. They're the ones that take over. And they're not there now. They're really probably Brewster and Wingard are the two really experienced guys that, you know, through the midfield and up forward that can do that. So it's going to be tough. You know, I think we're going to see a lot of that from the Hawks this year until they progress and start to get a little bit more confidence, a bit more experience in their side.
Yeah, you're spot on, Stephen. And the interesting thing for me is when I hear the term rebuild, how long is a rebuild? Because you've touched on the facts of O'Meara going to Freo, Mitchell going to Collingwood. You throw in Jack Gunston now at Brisbane and Shields at the Kangaroos. That's a wealth of experience that they've lost. And out on field, how much does that impact the young guys now coming through without having those senior calm heads around them? When the fatigue kicks in, the concentration goes a little bit. Where are those senior heads guiding those players? Because it's hard from the coach's box to have too much control.
And what they have actually stated, and Sam Mitchell stated it very clearly, that they're not looking to win 8 games or 10 games and just fall into the finals. They want to. It's almost like was mentioned in the interview where they're going back to where they were when Alistair Clarkson took over in 2005, and they want to build, get top draft picks in, and when it's their turn to strike, they want to win premierships again. They don't just want to play and win the occasional final, but finish, 7th, 6th, 8th position. They want to get out there and really compete for a flag. So it's going to be interesting because let's have a look back to 2005. They were lucky enough to get Franklin, Roughhead, Hodge.
Lewis was a year after,
I'm not sure there's any of that calibre player in their side at the moment. Time will tell, but it's an interesting policy to run with.
Stephen Williams, Scott Thompson, your experts this afternoon on ABC News Radio and the Listen Out. Moments away from bounce down between the Giants and the Hawks. Neil Cross has made his way back upstairs. Afternoon, Crossy.
Afternoon, Aaron.
Kept your eye on the coin toss?
Yes, James Sicily from Hawthorn winning the toss, and they are going to kick to the northern end of the ground. If you know this ground at Norwood Oval, you'll know the other end is the parade end, and that is where the Giants will be kicking in the opening quarter. Just hard to pick if there's an actual end to favour by the breeze. It's dropped yesterday. It was blowing a gale from the west, but this afternoon it looks pretty good. The ground is in excellent condition.
So the Giants and the Hawks on Grandstand AFL, both sides 1 and 3. Great to have what could be nearly 10,000 in the house at Norwood. Electric atmosphere in the penultimate game to gather round. Flynn and Reeves await in the middle. Bit of buzz here in the eastern suburbs. One down by Reeves. Free kick for a hold going Hawthorn's way to start. Newcombe will receive it. In the centre square. As Crossy mentioned, kicking to the Woodcock northern end, left of your radio dial. He hands it off to Hardwick. He kicks up towards the right forward pocket. Off hands, Taylor brought it to ground. Charging across Hamilton, lost it to Morrison. Kick was smothered. Coming through, Whitfield trying to control it. Couldn't hold on to it under pressure. Walpole comes through for the Hawks. Hands it towards Ward. Now Impey off a step. Heads into the forward pocket. Again spoiled down. Charging onto it, head over the footy. Bruce may have been collected. He was. They'll take the advantage, and the kick comes across. 30 out, straight in front to Carl Amon. Right back at home in South Australia, and a chance to kick the opener.
Yeah, we touched on before the call just the importance of what field position is going to give each team today, and a free kick at the first and a bounce is not what the Giants needed, and Hawthorn gained field position and now ends in a shot on goal.
2 goals for the year so far. Carl Amon kicks from 45 and opens proceedings for the Hawks. Plenty of punters in attendance this afternoon, the majority of them favouring what is the away team, but they're on the board first. 1 straight 6, the Giants yet to score 1 minute in on Grandstand AFL.
Just starting to find his feet after crossing over from Port Adelaide, wanted to go back, which is fair enough, a young player wanting to go back where his family is in Victoria, and Carl Amon, as we saw the last 2 or 3 years at Port Adelaide, started to become a really important player in the competition, and yeah, the Hawks will be banking on him to be one of those leaders that brings these young players through.
Yeah, really rate Carl Amon. Had the ability at Port to go inside and out. We see here at Hawthorn he's playing majority on the wing, but has the ability to really break the lines with his foot.
The old scoreboard, the old manual scoreboard here at the Norwood Oval shows the Hawks with that 1-goal advantage early on in this match as the ruckmen go at it again. Reeves with another good tap down. Cornelio will be first there for GWS. Goes back to Whitfield, all scrappy, gave it to Kelly, then to Flynn. Finally, there'll be a kick from Tom Green. Inside half forward they go. Hogan came out, couldn't get it on the half volley. It'll be repelled by Frost. Long hand pass to Ward. Bounced off one, gave it to Warple. Caught in a tackle in the middle of the field, holding the ball. Cornelio will take over.
Great season now that he's back in the guts for the Giants. The former skipper kicks wide, hits Callahan. Here's another great youngster for the Giants. Inside 50, honours the lead of Green, but it's spoiled at the last minute by Impey. Spills down to Frost, spun in the tackle, but got a handball back to Sicily. The Hawks now looking to clear. Long ball from Amon up to left half back. Green had 2 to beat, knocked down by Buckley. Newcombe was at the fore of the footy, but couldn't control it. Buckley flicks a handball back towards the Giants. They're trying to push it towards their attacking 50. Wingard now looks for the exit. Buckley again cuts it off. Newcombe all over him and in his back in the end. Free kick to go the way of the Giants at right half forward.
So Buckley will be hard against the boundary line here at Norwood, and only about 5 or 6 metres beyond the boundary line is a brick wall. That's the way it goes at this beautiful suburban ground. Buckley high, 25 from goal. Flynn couldn't take it. Jouth knocked it down. Moore took the hand pass away. Gave it to Sicily. Wide he goes out onto the eastern side of the ground. McDonald took it. Oh, he turned Ash around, played on. Down the line he goes. Good kick. Brewster's in a bit of space behind Haynes. Plays on straight away inside half forward. Fergus Green running for it. Reeves in support coming late. The big ruckman resting down there. And he's brought to a halt by a couple of tacklers for GWS. Hawthorn by 6 points. Nearly 4 minutes into the opening quarter at the Parade.
That's just a great turn by McDonald. If he can get clear back there and get running, all of a sudden the game and the ground opens up and the Hawks were quickly able to transition and up forward.
Flynn won it down straight to Bruce, though. He charged away, but Tom Green got him at the last moment as he tried to kick for goal. Spills out to Newcombe, he fumbles. Gathering was Ward. Hands it back to Ash. Clearing kick for the Giants. A hit in hope to territory. Charging out, Hogan meets it. Hands it back a little 1-2 with Kennedy. Then kicks around the body up towards centre wing. Jouth was sitting back. Cuts it off. Just behind half forward. He'll go long into the right forward pocket for the Hawks. A bit too high for Meek, but sitting at the back was Green. Takes it on his chest. 30 out, 45-degree angle to the right.
Such a dangerous kick back inside the corridor from half back by the Giants. That just has to go long and wide if you're under the pump. Turnover in the middle of the ground. Straight back inside 50, full face of goal for the Hawks.
What a signing the former Western Bulldog has been for the Hawks. Fergus Green with 5 goals already this year. You certainly would think he'll be getting a contract renewal at the end of the season. Comes in from the paint of 50. He'll kick from 35 on the right. It's a tight angle, but he's snuck it home. And the Hawks with a hot start at Norwood. 2 straight 12. The Giants yet to score 5 minutes in on Grandstand AFL.
This is pretty much what we've expected and seen from the Hawks in a number of their games this year, just the ability to get off to a good start. They have had a couple of opportunities at goal, and as we saw on Friday night, the Gold Coast blew a lot of theirs, but the Hawks have been deadly in front of goal, so a really good start to the game for them.
Statistically, GWS conceding a score from 52% of opposition inside 50s, 18th in the competition, so they're bleeding goals this afternoon already.
And Aaron Cadman just making his way into the forward half, so looking forward to the contribution that he can give to the side today.
So GWS have had an opportunity to go forward, but without result just yet. In the middle, and it's all square after the ruckman brought the ball down. Tom Green with a big tackle, forces the secondary ball up. Up it goes. Flynn battling. Reeves got it down. Newcomb got the ball and kicked it along for Hawthorn towards Fergus Green. He's in space, but he's got a couple for company. He fights really well, knocks it out into a bit of space. Now picked up for GWS. And they share the hand passes through Cumming, and Cumming goes wide to Cornelio. He does well to get around a couple with his right foot out on the eastern side, but his kick is intercepted there by Impey, close to the boundary out there on what is the Norwood Primary School side of the oval.
Former power player Jarman Impey. Contract year for him as well, the 27-year-old. Heads towards the 50. Long ball, charging out Reeves, nearly claimed it, just lost it at the last moment. Iden there to swarm. Clearing kick, wasn't great. Straight back to Impey. Heads to the right forward pocket, right on the boundary line. Wingard's underneath it, he's crunched. Good spoil by Taylor into what would be the 4th or 5th row. We'll get a boundary thrown in front of the LED scoreboard. Reads Hawks 2 straight 12. The Giants yet to score 7 minutes in.
Outer side, so they're about 20 deep over there. As the ball comes back in, brought down by Reeves, slung in the tackle long. Somehow he got rid of it. Umpire said that was all right. Still the scramble continues. Iden came out to Tom Green for GWS, and then his forward hand pass set up Cornelio for the big tackle. Newcomb took him down. He's a specialist at that, is Newcomb. And so he forces a ball up, just about 35 out, straight in front of the attacking goals for Hawthorn. Reeves just knocks it down. It's taken away by Iden with a hand pass to Cornelio. Middle of the pack, just a quick left foot tumble. It's thumped away by Frost, who came over the top, knocked it towards the boundary line. In fact, it was Hardwick for Hawthorn. And right in front of that old scoreboard, which has a beautiful clear clock we can read as well, which was lacking up at Mount Barker yesterday. 12 points the margin in favour of the Hawks.
Toss back in. Flynn wins it down with a double tap. He was looking for Ash, who couldn't control it. On hands and knees, Newcomb gets it out for the Hawks. To Nash. Back to Morrison. He's dumped heavily in a tackle. Pops straight back up. Cornelio was the offender. They keep going. McDonald back towards Amon. Kick was smothered. Ricochets into the centre square, rather. And Hardwick's caught high. Free kick to Hawthorn, just behind centre half forward.
We talked about field position at the start of the match, and the Hawks are dominating it. Their pressure inside the forward 50 has been fantastic, and every time the Giants have one possession, it's just been a quick kick out, which the Hawks have been able to gain and pump it back in.
Hardwick called to play on. He gives it to Sicily, shrugs the tackle, goes for 60 on the goal line. Flynn will spoil it through for a minor score. Hardwick tried to sell that he was going for the set shot in the centre square, and the umpire wasn't buying. So it's the first blemish for the Hawks, 2-1-13. The Giants yet to score. We've travelled 9 minutes in the opening term.
So with a kick in wide, they go to Iden, out in front of that scoreboard, just outside defensive 50. Although there is some suspicion about whether the 50 is actually 50 at Norwood. It's a small ground. He goes back inside, Haynes with the mark. Then another little chimp finds Cumming. Cumming takes his time just inside defensive 50. Out wide he goes for Haynes. Haynes in turn again, short to Iden. They've worked their way to half back, the Giants. The back end of the centre square at left half back. On the eastern side, Iden says he's going to kick it long, and what do you know? He does kick it long and high. That sets it up for the Hawthorn defenders, and Sicily comes across and takes an intercept mark. Oh, just behind centre wing for Hawthorn. They lead by 13 points.
Looks across. The Giants knew he was thinking about the switch, and it's sat up a bit long in the air. Mitchell drops it on debut. Green can swarm if he's quick. Mitchell tries to make amends by paddling it back to Jaffe, loses it, goes to ground. Green kept his feet, pushed over by Frost. It rolls through for a minor score. Gee, they fought and clawed their way to try and get a goal opportunity there, the Giants and the Hawks. The ball movement just too slow. GWS 1 behind to Hawthorn, 2-1-13, 10-minute mark at the first.
So Hawthorn quick to bring the ball in, and there was a 50 paid, a late hit on Newcomb. So Newcomb will go very valuable 50 metres down the ground here at the parade. So he'll end up going from just inside 50 to the front end of the centre square. He's got a couple of options to his left short. He decides to play on, goes centrally with his stab pass, and it was a beauty. And Morrison just inside 50 takes an easy chest mark and slightly to the right and about 48 metres out.
We see how harsh a penalty 50 metres can be here on Nord Oval. Long, dangerous switch by Sicily in the back half is not what they want, but Hawthorn at the moment are so sound behind the ball. Sicily's already up to 5 disposals. He's been so important with the way he structures up behind the ball.
Morrison belts it from what is 50, and he comes up a bit short. Brockman with a huge leap. Unsuccessful for the Hawks. It was a Hawk flying high, couldn't bring it down. And in the left forward pocket for Hawthorn, it'll be a ball up.
Close to the boundary line. One down by Meek over his head. Wingard trying to charge onto it, but overran the footy. Cleared by O'Halloran for the Giants. A torpedo off the side of the boot, really. Didn't carry outside the defensive 50. Underneath it, Nash coughed it up. Canelio pushed off the footy. Ward now trying to wrench it out. He's got a couple to beat. Umpire says my ball. Just outside the paint of 50. Close to the boundary line, left half forward for the Hawks. Great start for them here at Norwood. Taken out of the ruck by Meek. He turned into the Flynn tackle, fended him off. Just tumbled it towards the left forward pocket. Whitfield couldn't gather either. Messy football so far. Caught underneath it all. Poor Meek's trying to get it out, I think, and we'll get a couple of tackles and hold things up. About 30 out, left forward pocket.
We're in the Wood Street grandstand here, and if the ball comes down this wing, we'll be about 10 yards from it. That's the way it feels. Just out of the ruck, into the forward pocket for Hawthorn, across goals, and Brockman couldn't hold it in, so we'll get a throw in over in the scoreboard pocket. 2-1-13 the Hawks, and just the one behind for GWS. 12.5 into the opening quarter here at the Norwood Oval on the parade. Suburban Adelaide. It's about a 20-minute walk down the parade to the ground from the city. So off ends in the ruck, and it's taken high was Wingard as he went in, and the man making the tackle there was Cooper Hamilton with the mistake. So about 30 out, and in a good pocket for the left-footed Wingard. And on a warmish afternoon here at the parade, he's wearing long sleeves. Is Chad Wingard.
Sam Mitchell in the coach's box would have to be really happy with the forward pressure applied by Hawthorn throughout the first part of the first quarter. We see the pressure that it puts on the Giants' defenders, and eventually the mistake comes.
So Wingard starting his run from outside the arc. In he comes. And he was very disappointed with himself. He hooked it a bit narrow, so 2-2-14 on the board for the Hawks. GWS just the one behind. 13.5 into the opening term, and they really have dominated territory, the Hawks.
Inside 50's 11-4 in favour of the Hawks, so the Giants are probably lucky they're only a couple of goals behind.
So the Giants clear to the commentary wing, sitting in the hole. Good clean mark taken by the debutant Cadman. That's a great start. He was crunched by Sicily and held onto the footy. Right half back at the moment. Kicks on the 45 looking for O'Halloran. Takes it out in front of Warple. Just behind the logo, as Crossy mentioned, he's only a couple of metres in front of us, really. There's the sound of the booming right boot as he heads up to right half forward. Sitting underneath it. Meek couldn't control it. Front and square. Flicked out by Mitchell. Tried to get it towards Jaff. Couldn't control it. Diving forward, Frost turned it over to Callahan. Handballs forward. Green charging out. Ducked the shoulder into the tackle, and it's paid. Seamus Mitchell, the debutant, came in. Thought he did everything he possibly could to hold him up, but Green certainly slid in neck first and has received the free kick. 35 out, 45-degree angle to the right.
A smart play by Toby Green. He just got lower than everybody else, drove into the footy and certainly deserved the free kick. So really important one, probably against the run of play, but only the fifth time the Giants have been inside 50. But if he can kick this, all of a sudden they're way back in the game.
Averaging 3 goals a game so far this season, the Giants skipper. He'll start from outside the paint of 50, about 55 out at right half forward. And though I reckon the 50-metre arcs are a bit shorter here at Norwood. It starts right, but it's curving back magnificently. And the first goal for the Giants goes to their skipper, Toby Green. 1-1-7 to Hawthorn's 2-2-14. 15 minutes into the opening term on ABC News Radio and the Listen app. This is Grandstand AFL. Your experts, Scott Thompson and Stephen Williams.
Yeah, nothing real pretty about that build-up was there, but just the ability to get that surge from the drop of the ball and the long play down the line, and then Toby Green smart enough, as you touched on, Stephen, just to get low and hard at the ball and draw the free kick inside 50.
And it all really started from Aaron Cadman. He was able to take that contested mark. The Giants have been struggling to move the ball, transition it from their back half, and he was able to mark that ball, and all of a sudden they were able to get it going, and it resulted in the goal at the end of the play.
Not a big fan of the PA system here at Norwood, I can tell you that. It's booming just over our heads as they play a song that was Toby Green's selection for kicking a goal. Underway, still Hawthorn by 7 points in the middle. Himmelberg in ruck for GWS. It comes away, Warple with a hand pass off to Newcomb, and he goes long inside 50 and deep into the forward pocket, over the heads, as it turns out, of the ruckman in Meek, and it'll go out over the line. So we'll get a throw in about 20 around from the goal face for the Hawks.
We could do with a couple of wind socks or flags on the scoreboard, couldn't we, just to give us a bit of an indication. You can see the trees in the background blowing around a bit, so there's a bit of breeze up there, and it looks like the Hawks may have it.
Reeves won it down, who's trying to get it to Ward. Coming across Tom Green, got a handball out to Hamilton, tackled by Green, who fell forward with the momentum and gives away in the back free kick. GWS have it in defensive 50. Hamilton pops it short, just the required 15 to Kelly, or was it? Play on is called close to the boundary line, and Hamilton now receives and then is forced over the boundary line by Amon. Good pressure by the Hawks and poor decision-making by the Giants.
Yeah, I'm a little confused by the play-on rule, to be honest.
Put him under pressure, didn't it? As soon as the umpire called play on, he was attacked by two Hawthorn players, and they got out of it actually quite well with a boundary throw-in.
Well, he deemed it wasn't 15. Bruised off the ruck contest, off to Warple, snap from the pocket, crossed the goal slightly. And going back, taking the mark, Taylor for the Giants. Managed to get it away from Meek. So Taylor will bring it out, and he'll come out this side of the ground. We'll get it, as Aaron said before, first hand look, it's only about 10 metres away. The ball comes off hands to Ward for GWS. Then Himmelberg shares it quickly. And then in the pressure of the tackle, had to be released by Cadman. The other way, fighting hard was Nash, scrambled the ball. Lloyd picks it up for GWS. Now they spread the hands again. This time to Ward, he kicks long towards Toby Green at half forward.
Mark's just inside the field of play. Cadman's racing towards the arc. He'll go long instead, looking for Hogan, who pulls it in with one arm. Almost flew a little too early, but has the length to grab it out of the sky. He's about 25 out, 45-degree angle to the right.
Bit of sun, I think. Both, I think it was James Sicily was sort of putting his hand up to shield the sun out of his eyes, but Jesse Hogan kept his eye on the ball and opportunity to get the Giants almost level.
Yeah, he just lost the body, Sicily, in the end there, didn't he, to allow Hogan to get the jump at it.
Had 2 goals on the Hawks last time they met. This one won't be any score. It's right across the face and out on the full. Free kick to Hawthorn in the right back pocket. Plenty of supporters in the brown and gold waiting where Amon will bring it into play. Long ball out towards the eastern side. Great pack mark by Reeves. Got front position on Taylor, pulls it down. Looks inside immediately on the 45. Brockman was in a tough position, slipped through his hands. At the back, Kennedy flicks it out for the Giants. Got it wide. Now Kelly off a step towards the 50 once again. Cadman caught behind Frost, nearly pulled it in. Spilled to ground. Aim on a little 1-2 with Frost. Darting and weaving out of a phone box. He did very well to duck through 3 tackles. Kicks through the centre square. Front position was Bruce. Won it down, but straight to Tom Green, who hands it off. Now coming inside 50. A bit wide for Green. Was he held? Doesn't matter. Hogan will gather at the back. Gee, he tumbled one towards goal, and it nearly crept through, but it's hit the left-hand goalpost. Minor score for the Giants. 1-2-8. The Hawks 2-2-14. Approaching time on.
2 or 3 times now the Hawks have looked to go into the middle of the ground. Risk for reward, but they've turned it over, and the Giants have almost scored on the rebound.
So now at half forward, Mark taken from the kick in by Newcomb. Across goals he come. Again, a bad decision. Cornelio picks up the bouncing ball at half forward on this side of the ground. Inside half forward goes the kick. Hogan with a hand pass over the top into open goal. Cadman for his first in the AFL. On debut, And the Giants will come from everywhere to congratulate the young man. And after such a good start, the Hawks find themselves pulled back. It's 2-2-14 apiece as we go into time on in the opening quarter at the parade. Your experts on Grandstand AFL, Scott Thompson and Stephen Williams.
Yeah, I think, Stephen, for as much control of the first quarter the Hawks have had, there's a couple of poor decisions they've made across half-back. We saw one earlier from Sicily that didn't result in a goal, but the long flighted balls across half-back, on that occasion it was Newcomb. The turnover so severe in that part of the ground, and well done to the young lad kicking his first goal in AFL footy.
It was pretty cool, wasn't it? Didn't panic, just got the ball on that left foot, rolled it through, and good work by Jesse Hogan also to give it to the young guy, just to get his confidence up and going. So that's a great result for the Giants.
All square once again at Norwood. Bringing you a score update from the Adelaide Oval in a moment, but Geelong are well and truly on top of the Eagles.
I was going to say, it wasn't not the Eagles we're going to be talking about, I would have thought.
Reeves wins it down. Nash charging through the Irishman. Just got a handball out late, but he was pushed in the back in the process. Free kick will go to Ward in the end. He'd received it. He's in the centre circle, called to play on. Heads up towards the 50. Straight down the spine. Wingard flew late, kept out of it. And Buckley took front position to cut it off for the Giants.
He squares it straight away, just the regulation 15-metre kick to Iden. And he goes further wide into that scoreboard pocket. And they'll just slowly work it around. It's in the hands of Taylor at the moment, having received a short pass just outside defensive 50. Takes his time. Back inboard. Ash now inside defensive 50. They look to switch again. He thinks about it and then says no. Called to play on by the umpire. He stays on the eastern side of the ground with a longer kick, and the intercept mark taken by the debutant Mitchell for the Hawks. So just in front of centre wing on that eastern side of the ground. Back into the centre square was a good kick, and he found Newcomb by himself.
Newcomb thought about handing it off, instead kicks long to the right forward pocket. Brewster's got a run at it and takes it on his chest. Just had enough space on Tom Green. Marks right on the boundary line. It's a tight angle. He's about 25 out.
Such an experienced player, and his forward craft was outstanding there, just to protect the drop of the ball so that a Giants defender couldn't get a hand to it. I think it was Green on that occasion.
Just much better ball use too, wasn't it? The kick in the middle hit its target, and it's amazing how that opens that forward line up when you're coming from the middle of the ground.
The Hawks veteran thinking about a drop punt here. Had 3 goals last week. This could be his toughest of the season. It sits up on the goal line and rushed through for a minor score. Hawthorn back in front by a point. 2-3-15 plays 2-2-14, approaching the 23-minute mark of the opening term. Your expert, Scott Thompson, Stephen Williams.
So Whitfield to bring the ball in and come to this Wood Street side of the ground. A strong mark taken by Reeves in the centre of the pack. Straight away he plays on the Hawthorn ruckman into the forward pocket. Ball goes over the back untouched. Haynes was back there. Received a good bounce and then gave the hand pass off, received it again. Now he's found Buckley in the scoreboard pocket. Buckley down centre wing, wasn't a great kick, and there it is. The narrowness of the ground gets him out on the full, out there on the eastern side. Hawthorn will get the turnover.
Not sure what to do. Granger Barras go long in the end. Heads to the right forward pocket at the last possible moment. Good fly in the end from Bruce. Got a hand to it. Enough to get it down to Warple. Didn't get a handball clear. Threw it out in the end in the tackle. Now the Giants take the advantage and put themselves under a bit of pressure. Hamilton did well. Got it to Tom Green. Clearing kick. Hogan stayed down. Impey flew across from the side. Did enough to get it to Moore. Now Frost. Central kick for the Hawks. Hits McDonald. He's just behind centre half forward. Jaff running beside him. Receives it. Into the right forward pocket. Darting forward. It's just a bit shallow for Green. Gathered on the bounce and kicked it straight into Taylor. Picks it up for the Giants. Hands it off to Ash. Nice little chain here as they look to exit defensive 50, but they've turned into a wall. Big tackle late on O'Halloran. And it holds things up. 45 out. Close to the boundary line on the right-hand side.
Look, Bruce just come off the ground there, just in the hands of the trainer, looking at maybe a leg injury around the hamstring area, so not good news for the Hawks.
GWS moved the ball around the back with a hand pass to Kelly, and he clears the area. Interesting. It was Sicily and Himmelberg who went to ground. Now the ball on the ground. Granger Barras got it out. Impey, and then Newcomb, unsure, went back towards the boundary to Amon. Amon off a step with a left foot high inside forward 50. Off Taylor's hands. It came down to Warple for Hawthorn. And then the ball, Nash just put it into a bit of space. Tom Green picked it up for GWS, looks back across the ground, goes back to Haynes, drops in a short pass. It was good for Lloyd, and they'll get out of their defensive 50.
Short little pass, hits Ward, the oldest player out there this afternoon. Still plenty to offer, though, for the Giants. Their inaugural skipper heads up to the centre square, hits Hogan. That's a nice mark in front of Jaff, and then mounts him and holds things up a little bit as the Hawks try to flood back. He's called to play on, but Jaff hasn't realised. Hogan kicks it wide to the eastern side. O'Halloran marks on the logo. True centre wing. All momentum seems to have subsided. They've still got 2 minutes to work with here, the Giants, if they want another score. O'Halloran points long. Heads towards the light tower just inside the 50. Caught behind Himmelberg, spills to ground. Sicily, nonchalant, didn't chase after it. Green did. Gathered, tucked it under his arm, raced into the left forward pocket, handballed it to himself to keep it into play. Now off to Kennedy, threw it back, just inside on the arc, but I think it will carry, or just stay into the end and just be about a ball up rather. About 20 out.
I think Toby thought he was playing under 10s then, just handballing it to himself and trying to run onto it.
Nearly worked. Reeves takes it out of the ruck, just disposed of his opposing ruckman. Gave it off though and put Impey in a bit of trouble. He's immediately gang tackled. Ball up to come.
Chance to push right up the ground now, so the ball's pretty much locked in their forward 50.
Almost 27 minutes into the quarter. Giants need to take advantage of this. Ward picked it up for Hawthorn, immediately tackled. We'll get a third stoppage in the last 30 seconds or so. Just a 1 point margin in favour of Hawthorn. Reeves with the tap down. And they get it away towards the boundary, but it's taken away by Cornelio. He looks back inside. Ward with the bouncing ball, picked it up to Tom Green. Then a hand pass off. Cumming taken down and a tackle. Umpire says, ball it up. It remains inside the attacking 50 of the Giants.
They're all over him, Crossy. Just swarmed. He had nowhere to go. Tossed up. Reeves again takes it out of the ruck. He's beating Himmelberg comfortably. Gave it off to Ward, who off a step clears it looking for Meek. He's got 2 to beat on the eastern side. Brought it to ground. Moore came to assist. Gave it off to his ruckman. Trying to bust through a couple. Meek can't get away from Cumming, who brings him down. Ball up to come still. Just behind centre wing for the Hawks. They currently lead by a point. Dying stages of the opening term. Razor Ray in attendance here at Norwood. Great to see him out in the sticks. One down by Meek, out towards Amon, around the body. He's looking for Warple, bounced off his knees. Had to become the tackler on O'Halloran. He lost it, then paddled it off the ground. Straight back to Cornelio. He sends it up to left half forward. Intercept mark taken. Sicily got on top of Green. They put it on the 45 to Nash.
Nash backs it up. I'm not sure it's the sticks, Aaron, but...
The Burbs?
It is the Burbs, yeah. I'll give you that one.
We're talking eastern suburbs.
Yeah. Certainly, a lot of people out here don't think it's the sticks. Quarter time siren. It was a good start by Hawthorn. Perhaps they didn't take advantage of the early ball they had inside 50. And at quarter time, their margin's just 1 point. It's Hawthorn 2-3-15. GWS 2-2-14.
The goal scorers, all individuals so far for the Giants. Green and Cadman on debuts, look lively around the ground. And for the Hawks, Amon and Fergus Green. Great to have you with us on ABC News Radio and the ABC Listen app. This is Grandstand AFL.
Victor Moa, Boomerang, Hills Hoist, One Day Cricket. Aussies are an inventive lot.
It couldn't have been made anywhere else.
Tony Armstrong is rolling open the shed door to explore Aussie creations.
They tell us who we are and the times we live in.
And in there lies the charm.
From Speedos to Stubbies to the humble meat pie.
Enjoy the show.
Great Australian stuff. Tuesday nights on ABC TV and streaming on ABC iView.
You're listening to the AFL Gather Round.
Grandstand AFL.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
And now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
They'll take the advantage and the kick comes across to Carl Amon. Right back at home in South Australia and a chance to kick the opener. Carl Amon kicks from 45 and opens proceedings for the Hawks. Jaff was sitting back. He'll go long. Into the right forward pocket for the Hawks. A bit too high for Meek, but sitting at the back was Green. Takes it on his chest. Comes in from the paint of 50. He'll kick from 35 on the right. It's a tight angle, but he's snuck it home. And the Hawks with a hot start at Norwood Green charging out, ducked the shoulder into the tackle, and it's paid. Starts right, but it's curving back magnificently. And the first goal for the Giants goes to their skipper, Toby Green.
Hogan with a hand pass over the top into open goal. Cadman for his first in the AFL on debut. And the Giants will come from everywhere to congratulate the young man.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Low-scoring game at Norwood so far in the penultimate fixture to gather round. It's the Hawks by a point, 2-3-15 to 2-2-14. Big concerns, though, for one of their star veterans, Luke Bruce, who seems to have a hamstring problem, isn't out with the group at the moment, still in the hands of the trainers. May we see an early sub with Cam McKenzie waiting in the wings for the Hawthorn Footy Club. Great crowd for the Hawks and the Giants so far this afternoon, predominantly in brown and gold, but hopefully pushing towards another 9,000-10,000 mark, as we saw on Friday night between Fremantle and the Suns. Aaron Bryans and Neil Cross with you for the call on ABC News Radio and the Listen app. Your experts to break it all down. All-Australian Crow Scott Thompson, Port Magpies Premiership player and coach Stephen Williams.
Yeah, I think throughout the first part of that first quarter, we saw Hawthorn really able to control field position and apply a huge amount of pressure in their forward 50 on the Giants defenders. And time again, we saw that rush kick out and the turnover across half forward with the re-entries, just not able to capitalise on the scoreboard. And then as the quarter wore on, Stephen, we saw the Giants, wasn't pretty at times, but through a bit of surge footy, started to get the game on their terms a little bit more, were able to impact the scoreboard and almost tie the scores up by quarter time.
It almost flipped a little bit, didn't it? Towards the end of that quarter, it was the Giants that were actually pressing up, putting the pressure on Hawthorn. They were getting the rough kicks deep out of the forward 50, and the Giants were the ones that were cleaning it up and kicking it back in again. So, yeah, a really competitive first quarter of footy. The Hawks were terrific around the clearances at the start of that quarter. Newcomb was the man. John Newcomb, he won a lot of the 48 disposals in that first quarter. A couple of clearances, so he's one that the Hawks are certainly building their hopes around. And their forward line was looking dangerous as well up forward. But, yeah, as we mentioned, the Giants started to turn it around a little bit towards the end of that quarter. And, yeah, a really competitive and close game at the end of one quarter.
Yeah, Luke Bruce still not with the group, but I must say that Cam McKenzie isn't warming up either, so it might be just a minor thing that they're dealing with.
Just had a chat to the Hawks media manager, Jackson Callow, so it is a corpse loop. So it should be okay to go, but obviously going to be a little croppy by the sounds of things.
They received a kick up the backside, as did Hawthorn late in that quarter from the Giants. Stephen, you mentioned there is no windsock out there. I have a feeling, I know there used to be, and I think it may be a sponsorship issue that they had to take it down. And, yeah, but it's hard to tell. There's not a lot of breeze around here. As I said yesterday, up at Mount Barker, there was a good westerly coming in, and it really did affect the play, and it was largely on that western side of the ground. But the conditions are pretty good here at Norwood. There's no doubt about that. The surface is in. I have not seen it better.
Has never been better, has it?
Really impressed by the new grandstands as well, Steve. We've caught a lot of AFLW here over the years, and generally when you're trying to get in between the seating, your knees cop a fair bit of whack, and you can't really get out once you're in. But it's incredible what this new grandstand looks like, the new community centre as well. And amazing that so many punters have, I mean, it's not that far of a trip, but have decided to come out today amidst the doubleheader at the Adelaide Oval. It's been an incredible weekend of footy, to be honest.
It certainly has. It's had that real party atmosphere about it, hasn't it? And for a suburban ground, it's great to see so many people come in attendance. But I'll tell you what, the Redlegs who own this ground would be looking forward to getting back onto the deck with the condition that it's in.
Yeah. And the other thing, it's, you know, the suburban nature of it means, yes, we've got a grandstand here down the Wood Street side. There's a grandstand at the parade end of the ground, but the rest of it is open terraces. And it's great because it just reminds you of, I must say, how the SANFL and the VFL used to be at these suburban grounds.
Hawks by a point, 2-3-15 to 2-2-14 on Grandstand AFL. Both these sides desperate for a win after really disappointing losses across Easter. 1-3. The Giants would think they're a finals contender, but a loss this afternoon may kill those chances. The most awful bounce I've seen across the season, I reckon. It only went up about 5 metres. It barely went over the own umpire's head. Flynn wins it down on the second butt. That was tossed up. Tom Green charges onto it. Handball looking for O'Halloran, couldn't control it. Newcomb dives into the footy for the Hawks. He's got 2 to beat, including Cornelio. Can't get away, so he falls onto the footy and holds things up. We'll get a ball up closer to the logo on this broadcast wing.
I saw Jesse Hogan actually bouncing a couple before the game, and he was much better than the umpire was.
Out of the contest, Cornelio just swings one forward. Brockman was dangerous going back with the flight of the ball. It fell for Tom Green to Callan Ward with the forward hand pass, and then he goes to Lloyd to his right, and he kicks it from outside 50 and just away to the right for the minor score. So that levels things up at 2-3-15 apiece early in the second term.
Just Tom
here
Green,
at the parade.
Crossy, Tom Green, his ability to win that contested footy and get it out, and that one there, Daniel Lloyd should have finished it off. It was a simple kick.
Long ball by the Hawks is cut off at left half forward. Taylor is an All-Australian backman now, still quite young. Very elite at his intercept marking. Heads towards the left forward pocket, leading out. Big pack mark taken by Hogan. Got a clean run at it. 25 out, 45-degree angle to the left.
Well, the Hawks defenders there just sort of turned and the seas parted, and Jesse Hogan just came through and pretty much took a uncontested mark.
Good start for Jesse Hogan so far. Gotten away from his opponent a fair few times. Granger Barras, one of the 4 inclusions for the Hawks. Not a great start. Hogan comes in, beautiful finish. Never in doubt as it carries over the goal umpire's hat and gives the Giants the lead for the first time this afternoon. 3-3-21. The Hawks 2-3-15. 2 minutes into the second term on Grandstand AFL.
We touched on Tom Green before the game and just how important he has been for the first part of this season for the Giants. He's really starting to cause some issues through the middle of the ground now. He's up to the 12 disposals, but with that he's had 6 ground ball gets, so he's hunting the ball really well, and we saw his ability in tight traffic just to carve out some handball on the body before, which makes it really hard for Hawthorn to stop.
So 3-3-21 plays 2-3-15. Hawthorn, they know all about momentum, that's for sure, because they had it early on and they didn't take advantage of it. Now GWS making it work for them. Out of the middle of the game, Kelly was good. Off to Tom Green, another hand pass forward to Cornelio. He's got running for him is O'Halloran, who goes long into the pocket. It was almost a mark. It slips over the back and towards the line, and it was rushed through in the end by Hawthorn. Frost doing it. So he's quick to return the ball to Sicily. They want to get on with it, Hawthorn.
Just the importance of that Tom Green handball. He could have kicked it and it would have just been a shallow entry, but he was able to release a couple of other mids, and the Hawks were able to the Giants were able to drive it deep inside their forward 50.
Sicily heads to the defensive edge of the square, off the pack. Reeves got it out towards Bruce, and now Amon looking to switch out to the eastern side. He put it in the path of Morrison. He's got Hamilton on his tail, still gathers and lowers the eyes with a flat kick. Just to the toes forward there for the Hawks, but they do well. Long can gather. He gets it off to Ward. Heading inside 50. Wingard back with the flight, nearly grabs it. Spilt to Bruce, though, who hands it off to Reeves. Now forward from Green. Back to Wingard, who snaps around the body for his minor score. His first minor score of the afternoon. He's just hit the post, unfortunately. The Hawks fans score up and back there. So 3-5-23. The Hawks now. The Giants 2... Hold on, let me get this right. The Giants 3-4-22, the Hawks 2-4-16. 4 minutes into the second term on Grandstand AFL.
Cumming plays on from the kick in, goes wide to the eastern side. Good mark taken by Reeves. Straight away inside he goes to Ward with a kick inside the centre square and close to the centre of the ground. And he just decides to chip to Granger Barras. He plays on, hand pass to Frost, wide. He chips it onto this Wood Street grandstand side of the ground. Impey takes it, plays on, inside 50, high, off hands, taken by Bruce, and he's tackled just before he can make an efficient disposal. And in the end, it's rushed through by Ash. Crowd, of course, calling for a deliberate, insufficient, whatever.
Dan Houston would have been calling for deliberate.
So Ash was content to rush it through. And now he plays on from fullback.
So out towards the eastern side go the Giants. Kick up to right half back works for Hamilton. Peroxide blonde hair youngster. Pops it short down the line. Cornelio. Plenty of footy early. This will be his 11th touch. Keeps going up across the boundary line. Lead out target. Hit up there for the Giants, just behind centre wing. So Cumming plays on up towards the arc. It's a massive kick. Reeves in the pack did well to cut it off. It's beating Flynn comprehensively around the ground. Rose up in the midst of about 6 bodies. Intercepts for the Hawks. He's called to play on and sends it back where it came from, up towards centre wing. Front position, Meek couldn't control it at the floor of the footy. A couple of tackles late on Moore. One of them was too high. Free kick to the Hawks.
Moore looks centrally, decides instead to go down the line. Good lead out by Angus Green, or Fergus Green I should say, and Fergus then goes into the forward pocket and he just dropped out the back Wingard hoping the ball would carry. The intercept Nark taken by Buckley, and he spreads it to the corridor where Kelly was available. He holds it up, 40 out from goal, straight in front. He flicks it wide for Whitfield, takes the mark, down the line he goes. Taylor with the ball in hand, out on the eastern side, decides to go long and high.
Really high cross, he went straight up almost, and getting underneath it. Seamus Mitchell on debut, plenty of cheers from the crowd as well. Kicks on the 45, hits up long. He's just at left half forward at the moment. Won't go long to his namesake, instead gets it to Morrison. Heads up to the left forward pocket. Wingard again at the back, nearly controlled it, fell into the footy head first. Can he get boot to ball though? No, it's smothered in the goal square at the moment. It's shot out backwards. Moore can gather, hands it wide looking for Green. He couldn't get to the footy before Taylor, who gets it to Kelly. The Giants can escape trouble. Around the body, he's looking for Cadman. Behind Frost has somehow got it. Wasn't paid the mark, must have touched the Hawks defender's hands. He did well though. Hands it off. Cornelio forward looking for Ward, turns into a tackle but stays upright, forcing it through centre wing. Amon slides in and catches one high. Stepped off his line and called to play on. He'll get away with it anyway to Long.
Long went short and missed his target in Bruce. Intercept mark taken by Cumming for GWS. Into the point of the square to Tom Green. He stepped off, called to play on, almost lost the ball. He was thinking about a kick and then finally did take it. Straight across to Hamilton. One side to the other, out on the eastern side. He kicks the ball wide. It's taken by Ash, who plays on immediately inside 50. Oh, Mark spoiled away. Peatling thought he had it. In fact, he didn't. It was knocked away, and Hawthorn will get their turn on Ringa Rosie.
Hardwick up to Green on the logo, outer side. Waiting for people to flood forward. There wasn't too much ahead of him. Finally, he can centre his kick up to half forward. It should have been taken by Meek. He fumbled uncontested. Coming through to assist though, Long. Gathers, heads to the left forward pocket. Caught behind Moore, battling with Hamilton. Gathers, darting, weaving, kicking around the body. Floated up in the air for Fergus Green. Couldn't get there in time. Charging back through, tackle laid. That escorts the ball over the line. Right on the outer side in the left forward pocket, Bruce, who's dealing with a cork, is glued at the moment. Still fighting hard for the Hawks, who currently trail by 5.
Seen a fair bit of ping pong at the moment, turnover to turnover. One team just needs to maybe slow the play and try and get the game on their terms.
So the ball to flick back into play will be Flynn to go on the ruck and brings it down for GWS, and came out to Cumming. He got it outside the defensive 50. Lloyd took it off the pack, was taken high, play on. Advantage, well, Toby Green wasn't a great hand pass, but it's knocked forward into the path of Kennedy. He's almost at half forward. His hand pass flicked up, missed it. His target, Brockman, came through for Hawthorn. Now he's picked it up, backtracked beautifully, gave a hand pass to Warple. His hand pass was awful. In came Iden, and close to the boundary line, about 10 or 15 metres from us. Finally, the umpire will come in and say, let's put it in the air.
Just an errant handball cost a goal, didn't it? The Giants had Himmelberg out the back on his own. They just needed to kick the ball, but couldn't find a target.
Meek fighting with Bruce. One down for the Giants. Callahan retreats to Iden. Checks side off the boot. Heads towards the 50. Early fly. Got plenty of height, Granger Barras, but his fist has somehow gotten high. And Himmelberg will receive the free kick. Down on the mark will be 45 out. Tight angles to the left.
Giants have got the best kicking efficiency of any side over the AFL, 70%. So they need to just steady and start to find a few targets. They've been a little bit wayward today.
Fortunate free kick for the youngster. He got plenty of height. The fist was bang on the footy, but it was just his elbow almost that just caught Himmelberg a little too high there. Runs around from the paint of 50. Roost of a kick. It's going all the way. for another goal for the Giants. 4-4-28 plays 2-5-17. The GWS Giants up by 11 points now.
It was a beautiful kick off the boot, never looked like missing, but again, just great use of by Himmelberg, then great use of that stand rule with a man on the mark, which I tell you I'm not a fan of at all, but well done by Himmelberg to expose that there.
Only his first kick, so hasn't really had much of an impact on the game, but when you don't, you get your first opportunity. We were right behind that ball, and that was straight over the goal umpire's head.
Interesting run-up he had. Like, he starts with the left foot in front of the right, which is unusual, and then he arcs way out to the right. But you can't argue with the efficiency of it.
Well, if you watch those rugby players kick, that's what they do, isn't it? They start on the angle, and as long as your hips are pointing towards the goal when you make contact.
So ball in the middle, and it's taken by Nash off the pack. Good hand pass out to Warple. Sinks the slipper into the ball down to half forward. Off hands it comes again. Buckley overran it. Taylor just socketed out a defensive 50. Warple pushed off then when he picked up the ball, and he got Kelly high, and he will take the free kick for the Giants.
Is it a finger in the eye?
Might have been that way. No, he's
I think a palm to the windpipe.
He's staying out there. All the physios have come out to have a quick chat. Kelly will kick up the broadcast wing. He's heading up to left half forward. Meek stands his ground. Shepherds enables Granger Barras to come across and intercept for the Hawks. Fresh into the side after a 14 disposal game in the VFL. Pick number 6 heads up towards half forward. Big fly from a couple. Buckley thinks he's claimed it between his knees as he falls into the footy, but will get a ball up at the attacking edge.
Granger Barras fresh into the side, and looks like he's rocking a fresh hairdo at the same time.
21 years of age. I'm sure he's just finding what works best, Tomo. Tossed up. Nash at the floor of the footy, spun around by his arm, got a boot to ball, straight up and down. Worked in the end for Moore, who marks on the logo on the attacking 50R. So 45-degree angle. Not really confident he's got the distance. He's looking for options, but it's pretty flooded ahead, so he'll race around using the stand rule. Kicks across the goal face, though. Plenty of hook on it. Sits up for Brockman, couldn't control it. Becomes the tackler on Iden, but it was high. Free kick to the Giants in the right back pocket. They currently lead by 11 points. Full time at Adelaide Oval. Geelong have defeated West Coast by 47 points. 21-10, 136 to 13-11-84. So a goal scoring affair there at the Adelaide Oval with the Pies and the Saints to come.
So the long ball out from defence from Iden, out onto the eastern side. Ball's on the ground, and it's still fumbling around. No clean possessions. About 8 or 10 players around the ball, and finally the umpire comes in and says, well, it's just 5 metres in from the fence line, let's ball it up. So umpires in blue this afternoon, and ball on the ground again from the ruck contest. Cornelio just handballs it from his backside over his head, and Himmelberg picks it up. Was taken in a tackle by Warple straight away. Over the line, throw in.
Smaller ground here at Norwood, but not as many goals as we're seeing about 15 minutes down the road. Toss back into play on the outer side. Meek runs across to win it down. Didn't really have an opposing ruck as Himmelberg didn't fly. Scored through a couple of hands. Warple trying to get there. Tom Green was first to the footy. Got it to Callahan for the Giants. Now forward to Cumming. Can kick from the attacking edge of the square. It's a monster kick all the way to the goal square where Hogan was waiting alone. Frost had pushed just a little bit forward in the hopes of an intercept, but just didn't anticipate the length of the kick.
Tom Green again, just his ability to win that contest, and he's such a big midfielder. He's able to get his arms loose while he's being tackled, get the handball out, and all of a sudden the Giants are on their way, and the Hawks were pressing up. Got the ball over the back of the press, and an easy goal here for Jesse Hogan.
Goalless last week, but Jesse Hogan now has 2 this afternoon. Converts from straight in front, and the Giants have the last 5 goals of the game. 5-4-34 to the Hawks, 2-5-17. 14 minutes into the second term on Grandstand AFL. Your experts Scott Thompson and Stephen Williams.
Yeah, great build-up. You mentioned Tom Green and how important he's been. 16 disposals now, 7 contested possessions, 7 ground ball gets, and the use of his hands just to open up the play and get that offensive chain started there. And their ability to work back behind, and it was Hogan on that occasion to get in behind. It was a beautiful flighted ball to his advantage, which resulted then in an easy goal from 15 out directly in front.
Just a really smart midfielder, Green. He just doesn't get the ball and slam it on his boot. He gets it, he knows he's got some time, he doesn't panic, uses the right option, and that really sets the orange tsunami on its way.
Tom Green, the best of the three Greens this afternoon that are on the field. One for Hawthorn, two for Giants. Out of the middle, free kick, play on advantage. Warple down to half forward. Looked like Wingard stopped it dead. The umpire called play on, lost it on the way down. Couple of hand passes and the Giants away. Buckley down the line, down this eastern wing. Warple, or rather Impey going back, pressured by Kennedy, kicks it around the corner, back towards the logo. Warple again. Mark, play on straight away. Hand passed off to Nash and then hand passed forward when he received it to Moore. It's taken by Brockman. He goes back to Ward, inside 50 with a dink kick. Oh, just a lack of confidence in taking the ball in his hands there for Bruce. Now the umpire spots a free kick. Advantage, play on. It's end-to-end stuff and the Giants are taking advantage.
Cornelio in the centre square, hands it out to Cumming. They're surging forward, the Giants. Here's Cadman, right half forward, wheels around. He spots Himmelberg in the 50 and gets to him. Good body work in the hole as Kennedy completely blocked Impey from the run at it, and Himmelberg marks unopposed, straight in front, 30 out.
Not sure Luke Bruce would have dropped an easier mark in his career, but that would have been a shot at goal for the Hawks. But from that mistake, the Giants were able to sweep the ball forward, and once again just had loose players inside their forward 50, as we see Chad Wingard being helped off the ground by the trainers after that marking contest.
It's to be a mouth issue. They've copped a knock. Meanwhile, Himmelberg from 30. It starts right. He's just missed. He stabbed to Gimme, but yeah, didn't have a run up.
He didn't go on that true arc that he used before, did he?
Minor score on the right-hand side. The Giants 5-5-35. The Hawks 2-5-17. Approaching time on in the second term in front of a great crowd here at Norwood as we get towards the end of gather round.
So from the kick in, big pack forms, comes to the front. Newcomb, who's been quieter in the second quarter, picks it up, gives it to Warple, and then bounce kick from Newcomb. He didn't mean it, or McDonald, I should say, he didn't mean it. And at half back, it's picked off by the Giants, and they can build again. It's Iden now who has it. It comes wide to Whitfield. So Rocky Whitfield probably been telling young Cadman all about when he was number one pick and how to cope with the pressure. Down the line he goes with the kick. Warple off the pack, stood up, gave the hand pass away. Taylor intercepted to Iden by hand and then back to Kelly under pressure. Got it down the line and ran out of room. It's very tight on this side of the ground. Actually, it's very tight everywhere on this ground. It is a small suburban ground. And Hawthorn will attack from the back. Sicily brings the ball in.
The sights are picturesque, Krosky. The sounds are even better when they're right in front of us. Great to hear the cries of warp and the sound of the boot. And then bang forward. They've completed the switch, the Hawks, out to the eastern side, but their exit wasn't clean. The Giants, swarming onto the footy, have held things up and forced the ball up close to the boundary line. So we're about right half forward at the moment for GWS. Completely dominating since the Hawks kicked the opening two. They haven't had a goal since. Tossed up. Meek front position, won it down to Newcomb. Diving handball to Nash. Heads up to left half forward. He's looking for Brockman. Iden did well. Only had eyes for the footy as Brockman was back with the flight. Iden cuts it off. Dinks it on the 45. Just behind centre wing. Looking for options coming.
Just really struggling to get any run and carry the Hawks from that back end of the square through the midfield into their forward half. It's just a kick now and the Giants are back there sweeping it up.
Up to the arc he goes. Meek was in front position, got a hand to it, prevented any marks. Front and square Nash, hands it wide to Warple. Now they're surging on the counter. Bruce can spin through centre wing. He heads up towards the 50. Crunched. Was it taken in the end? Hawthorn now received the free kick. They spin towards the left forward pocket. Clean entry. And Morrison will mark 10 out, tight angle to the left. Green has it. Fergus Green. And kick around the body. And snap through. Fergus Green with his second of the afternoon. Great counter play there from the Hawks as they rebounded off half back. And finally they break the deadlock. They were struggling there after the 5-minute mark of the opening term. Now they're back on 3-5-23 plays 5-5-35. Time on in the second term on Grandstand AFL.
Some better ball movement there from the Hawks off half back, and I think it was Bruce on that occasion taking a strong contested mark on the 50 line just to make amends for the easy drop that he had about 5-10 minutes ago. So we know how good a player he is. Not like him to drop easy marks like before, but great to follow up with a strong contested mark there.
Seesaw contest. Both sides have had their opportunities. It's back to a 12-point game in favour of the Giants, and in the middle it's off the ruckman's hands down to Kelly. Gave the hand pass out. Whitfield took it behind him with one hand, and then down he went with a big long kick looking for Himmelberg. Came out, took the ball, had to hand pass it in front as he lost it on the ground, and it looked like it was dragged in by...
Very lucky, wasn't he?
Yeah, the Giants big man in Flynn looked like he dragged it in. I'm sure he did. Umpire called for the ball up. It's inside attacking 50, but it'll come out again as Newcomb takes it off the pack for Hawthorn.
Only as far as Buckley though, who sat underneath it and waited for the ball to drop. Outmarked Ward. Jack Buckley, the Swans Academy product in a contract year, heads towards the top of the goal square. Big fly, and Frost claims it. I reckon he's got it there, but they've called play on. He's gang tackled, lost the footy. Himmelberg gets it out, spear tackle there. Charging through by Frost to make amends as he dumps Lloyd. Coming through Japp, gets away from O'Halloran. Hands it wide to Morrison, and Hawthorn get it out of defensive 50. But again, it may be only as far as Taylor dropped it at the last possible moment, then dives over the footy. McDonald gathers, but he's escorted over the line by Buckley. So the Giants setting up well behind the footy. Hawthorn preventing any score there as they just kept pushing the Orange Tsunami.
Oh, I don't think Jack Frost was too happy with the umpire not paying that mark, and he wanted to send that bloke into next year with that tackle then.
Lloyd Meek will go in the ruck for Hawthorn. He was down, took a while to get up from his last contest in defensive 50. The ball came away to Nash, and he gave it to McDonald. He missed with his hand pass. Umpire got involved. That helped out Hawthorn, as it turns out. They're caught in the tackle though. It comes out to Green, Toby Green. He gave it off to Hamilton, inside forward 50 off his non-preferred left foot. Sicily worked his man off the ball for Hawthorn. Gave a quick hand pass to Impey, to Jaff with a 1-2, and then over the top from Impey found Frost, and then Frost gave it to Jaff, and they work it out to the eastern side of the ground. Good kick on the chest out there of Long.
So just inside defensive 50, you pop it short to McDonald, right on the arc. Now the movement stagnates, so they'll switch again. Frost to Frost, and now Sicily in the right back pocket. He'll head towards the broadcast wing. Sitting underneath it, Morrison was alone. It stayed in the air for a while, and Toby Green gets there with the fist. Spills down to Hamilton, who turned into a wall. Newcomb in his path. He's got it back to Buckley. Now Tom Green stops props, high into the 50. Jaff with the sit. Unrealistic, really. Whistle stays away. Sicily got it. That's a Hardwick for the Hawks. Now Impey. Pops it short. Here's Walker at right half back. Heads up towards centre wing. Front position Meek. Got around Flynn, and nearly took it behind him. Spilled to Tom Green front and square. Retreats to Wyden, then gets it back, but it's clean bowled him, almost nutmegged. Out over the boundary or just on the line. It will be now. It's a big tackle from Green, who flings Ward over the line illegally. Free kick to Hawthorn.
So inboard with a kick from Ward, finds Newcomb, and then he goes to centre half forward. The long kicking Amon, who stabs the ball into the goal square. It's going to go over the top. It wasn't touched. He was looking for the pass, and instead he came up with a goal. An accidental goal for Hawthorn. Their fourth of the afternoon. So Hawthorn, 4-5-20, no, is that right? Yes, 4-5-29, scoreboard slow on fast. 5-5-35, sixth the margin in favour still of the Giants, and we're 24 minutes down in this second term. Your experts on Grandstand AFL, Scott Thompson and Stephen Williams.
I'm telling you now, Crosser, he will definitely claim that as him having a shot for goal then. He's starting to have an impact this afternoon, Carl Amon. 2 goals on the board, now up to 11 disposals, playing on the wing. He's starting to have a good day. We also see, I'm not sure it was, but that sling tackle that was paid against Tom Green.
As soon as you throw someone to the ground now with any sort of force, the umpires react, and it's normally a free against you. I'm not sure it was really too much dangerous about it, but the AFL don't want that in the game.
Flynn wins it down to Cornelio, kick smothered, but it came out to Tom Green, who gives it back to Kelly. Now the Giants into the 50. Front position, Hogan won it down, darting and weaving. Good ball use there for the Giants by Peatling, who gets it out to right half forward. Now into the pocket, Jaff. Did well. Knocked it over the boundary line.
Just while we talk about the sling tackle, someone that's been so good in the first 5 rounds for Hawthorn has been Will Day. To me, that was the perfect tackle last week.
The tackle on Ward should be okay for Tom Green because he did fall on his back, but it didn't look great. Hogan takes it out of the ruck for the Giants, hands it off. Toby Green kicks around the body, but didn't quite get the angle he wanted on the boundary line and has kicked it out on the full. Free kick to the Hawks, who currently trail by 6.
Toby Green would be saying, no, I'm happy for Tom Green to be credited with that particular kick. So from the pocket, it'll be Granger Barras in that scoreboard pocket, and he keeps it out on that eastern side of the ground with a high kick off the pack. Running through. Buckley took it high inside 50 into the pocket again. Granger Barras cracked the pack. It was picked up by Harry Himmelberg over the top to Peatling, and then he tried one more hand pass when he had the option of perhaps kicking it himself. And it was blocked into the goalpost for the minor score. They got out of trouble there, Hawthorn.
Kick the goal, young man.
Yes, just trying to be a little bit too unselfish, didn't he?
Still 2 minutes to play in this second term. Neither side's been overly impressive, but the Giants do hold on to that 7-point lead at the moment. Hawthorn clear up towards the centre square. At the back, Flynn won it down against Reeves. For the footy, Kelly trying to wrestle his way out of 2 tacklers. Lost control of the footy. Nash pulled it away, but was brought down. Tackle laid there by Flynn will force the ball up on the broadcast wing. Just forward of the logo for the Giants. Flynn wins it down straight to Tom Green in a tackle. Got a handball out to Cornelio. Now charging through Whitfield. Pierces his kick a bit too high for Hogan. At the back though, darting away. Himmelberg tumbles it towards goal and hits the right-hand goalpost. Minor score again for the Giants, who advance to an 8-point lead, 5-7-37. Plays 4-5-29, 27 into the second term.
Beautiful move by Harry Himmelberg just to get sway the hips and get around, but I'm not sure you need to kick that one along the ground. Just kick a drop punt and it's a goal.
Couple of short kicks. Moore receives the second of them, and Hawthorn out at right half back. On this broadcast side of the ground, long he goes. Reeves at the front of the pack for Hawthorn. And roving there, almost Bruce. Still it's bobbling around. Hawthorn got it back to Bruce. Bruce went wide with a hand pass into the area of Brockman, tried to swing a boot at it, was knocked off balance. As a result, it was taken over by GWS. There was an awful hand pass across half forward. Hayne was taken down in a tackle, and it's come to Bruce for Hawthorn. Outside attacking 50, drops it in short. Brockman couldn't take it. In came Tom Green. He was held without the ball. Umpire called play on. Amon picked it up for Hawthorn. High inside forward 50 towards the pocket. It'll roll over the line. And there's a popular bar up on there in the hill, and I'm sure there's a lot of people crowded up there looking for another drink on a warm afternoon. Autumn sunshine shining down on the parade.
And all the punters on their feet in front of this boundary throw-in. Tossed in. Hawthorn's attacking 50. Reeves won it down to Ward, who hands it off to Moore. Warple off a step. Heads towards the right forward pocket. Whistle before it falls into the hands of Bruce. There's a holding free kick to go the Giants' way. Looked like it was going to be a shot at goal for the 50 away side. And now a 50 for dissent, I think, there. The Giants will be marched out of defensive 50.
Yeah, I think it was Ash just got thrown out of the contest before the ball was anywhere near it, so correct decision.
So Buckley has it centre half back. Pops it short to Iden as they switch out to the eastern side. Right half back, Whitfield. Over the top, bit of height on the kick, worked well for Callaghan, who could get back away from Brockman. He turned to head towards the 50, but won't make it in time. Half time at Norwood Oval. The Giants, who dominated for large portions of that quarter, certainly haven't put this game to bed. They're up by 8 points at the major break. 5-7-37 to the Hawks. 4-5-29. Great to have you with us on ABC News Radio and the Listen app across the country for the penultimate game of Gather Round. Good crowd in attendance as well as both these sides fight for their second victory of the season. Aaron Bryans and Neil Cross calling the action. Your experts to break down the opening half, Scott Thompson and Stephen Williams.
Well, Tomo, a pretty competitive game. We saw the Hawks look probably the better side, and we've seen them do this probably over the season so far. In the first probably half of the first quarter, they were up and about, but the Giants have slowly worn them down, and with the likes of Steve Cornelio around the ball, Tom Green, I think, has probably been the best player on the ground. His ability to win the ball in the contest and make the right decision, most importantly. He doesn't just kick the ball away. He gives it to the advantage of a teammate. They've been able to get themselves back into the game. They kicked 3-5 that quarter. Himmelberg missed a couple of easier ones that you would have thought he would have kicked. So not unlike the Gold Coast on Friday night, probably should be a little bit further apart. So it'll be interesting to see what the coaches have to say at half-time and what sort of changes maybe we see in the second half.
Yeah, we did. We certainly saw the Giants' prime movers in Green and Cornelio, as you touch on, really start to get on top through the middle of the ground, play the game in their forward half for the majority of that quarter, but the Hawks are going with relative confidence after being able to crawl their way back into the game when they probably should have been further behind. But now comes the challenge for Hawthorn, and a lot's been made about their third quarters and back halves of the game throughout the first handful of rounds. I think it was 22-1 inside 50s in the third term against Geelong last weekend. So I'm pretty sure whether Mitchell does want to touch on it, he probably has to, because it's been a real issue for him. I think they've only scored a handful of goals in third quarters in the first few rounds this season. So the challenge is, can Hawthorn come out after half-time and produce what they started with in the first quarter?
Just an update on Chad Wingard as well. We saw him exit the ground clutching his mouth. He's just got a cut tongue, so he won't be subbed out of the game, but obviously there's a little bit of work needed to be done by the medicos to make sure that he's good to go. Big thanks to Jackson at the Hawks for providing updates for us across the afternoon. Obviously Luke Bruce with a cork glute as well, but he's still out there, so Cam McKenzie awaits to be activated as the sub for the Hawks, and Harry Rowston for the Giants. GWS up by 8 at half-time, 5-7-37. Plays 4-5-29. Still to come today, the Pies and the Saints, which is about 20 minutes away at Adelaide Oval. If you do want to hear that game, jump on the ABC Listen app. And earlier today, Geelong defeating West Coast by 47 points. The second half to come here at Norwood, but for now, let's take the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
Hello, this is ABC News with David Rowlands. The fighting between rival military factions in Sudan is continuing into a second day, as doctors say at least 50 people have died already and hundreds more have been injured. The latest from the BBC's Emmanuel Agunza.
The fighting did start in the capital, Khartoum, but then overnight we've had reports that it has spread to other parts in the northern city of Marawi, where the Rapid Support Forces have had a very big stronghold. They have been fighting ongoing there. There are counterclaims of who controls one of the vital air bases in the northern city there, but also in the Darfur region. This is a restive region that has known so many years of conflict. We understand that fighting has also been ongoing there, and with no signs of both parties seemingly wanting to have a negotiation to end the conflict, but also to return the country to civilian rule, it does seem that this fight will continue to escalate.
Japan's Prime Minister Fumio Kishida has denounced yesterday's smoke bomb incident at a port in western Japan. A man was arrested after allegedly throwing a smoke bomb into the assembled crowd not long before the Prime Minister was due to speak, and a second device was found later. Mr. Kishida says Japan must not allow acts of violence that strike at the foundation of democracy. The suspect is so far refusing to answer questions about the incident. A woman who was fatally stabbed in Darwin on Friday night had been visiting from out of town to see her son. Lillian Rangia has more on this story.
A 56-year-old man has been charged with murder after allegedly stabbing his 51-year-old partner with a knife in Darwin CBD on Friday night. The ABC understands the woman had travelled to Darwin for the court appearance of her son, who was in jail. Her final action was to seek help in the nearby Hilton Doubletree Hotel, where bystanders provided assistance, including Indigenous Affairs Minister Linda Burney, who comforted the woman's family. Today, Labor Senator Malarndirri McCarthy told Sky News argues the incident was a reminder of how many women are killed in Australia every week. The alleged offender is expected to appear in court tomorrow.
Queensland Police have scanned 530 people with metal detection wands, confiscating 8 weapons in the state's safe night precincts and on public transport over the weekend. The operation has come about as a result of new legislation dubbed Jack's Law, after Gold Coast teenager Jack Beasley, who was stabbed to death in December 2019. Acting Deputy Police Commissioner Mark Wheeler says the number of weapons detected across 18 locations is concerning.
Weapons like machetes, knives, box cutters, in one instance a set of knuckle dusters. Really, if you're carrying those weapons, I can only draw one conclusion as to what your intent was. There's simply no reason.
WA Premier Mark McGowan has labelled an overnight riot at Perth's Casuarina prison as shameful. The 3 detainees are sold to the female supervising officer. The detainees, one of whom is 18, were engaging in recreational activities when they used a makeshift weapon to hit the officer on the head. They then took her keys and opened multiple accommodation units, with 13 inmates retrieving a ladder and climbing onto the roof. Mr McGowan says up to 7 guards were injured, with one sustaining a broken foot. He's condemned the actions of the prisoners.
They should be ashamed of themselves. Their conduct is appalling. They will now suffer the consequences. There are charges that will be laid against them. But, if anyone sort of says, they shouldn't be in custody, this is the sort of stuff they do.
Home builders left in the lurch following the failure of construction company Porter Davis have rallied on the steps of Victoria State Parliament. Nicole Asher reports.
About 50 people gathered on Spring Street demanding government help to recoup their deposits. The collapse of Porter Davis has left about 1,700 home building projects in limbo. The majority of those are in Victoria, with about 200 in Queensland. Liquidators appointed to take over the company have warned some customers who'd paid a deposit but not had work begin have been left uninsured, meaning their deposits were not protected. Those home builders are now demanding governments step in to recover their money.
Victoria's Premier Daniel Andrews says he doesn't have any announcements to make just yet about how the government will help victims of the collapse. And Australian golfer Grace Kim has won her first LPGA event, taking out the Tour Championship in Hawaii. The 22-year-old rookie shot a final round 4 under 68 to force a 3-way playoff. Kim says she's still coming to terms with the triumph.
I really didn't have high expectations. I think I just really tried to play my own game, didn't try to force anything, just trying to, go with the flow. I'm still speechless that it's kind of done already, and I got the job done. So mine's kind of busy, I'd say.
ABC News.
We are one, but we are many, and from all
listening to ABC Radio.
We are Australian. We are Australian.
You're listening to the AFL Gather Round.
Grandstand AFL.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
And now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Long ball by the Hawks is cut off at left half forward. Taylor is very elite at his intercept marking. Heads towards the left forward pocket, leading out. Big pack mark taken by Hogan. Hogan comes in, beautiful finish. Gifts the Giants the lead for the first time this afternoon. Callahan retreats to Iden. Checks side off the boot. Heads towards the 50. Plenty of height, Granger Barras, but his fist has somehow gotten high. And Himmelberg will receive the free kick. Runs around from the paint of 50. Roost of a kick. It's going all the way. Forward to Cumming. Can kick from the attacking edge of the square. It's a monster kick all the way to the goal square where Hogan was waiting alone. Goalless last week, but Jesse Hogan now has 2 this afternoon.
The long kicking Amon, who stabs the ball into the goal square. He's going to go over the top. It wasn't touched. He was looking for the pass, and instead he came up with a goal.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
And now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
It's been an incredible weekend of football in South Australia, and in the final few hours we've got a treat here at Norwood. A single-digit margin between the Giants and the Hawks. It's GWS leading 5-7-37 to 4-5-29. It's been so successful this weekend that the breaking news is that South Australia has been confirmed to host Gather Round for the next 3 seasons. So 2024, 2025 and 2026. Gather Round will return to South Australia as an additional round through the AFL Premiership season. So the news coming out of that is that the intent will be to move the regional matches. Obviously, we've got a game here at Norwood this afternoon. We had one on Friday night, and the Mount Barker game. And the expectation is there will be matches played at the Barossa and the McLaren Vale region over the next few years. So a 3-year agreement between the AFL and the South Australian government, built off the success that over 200,000 tickets were sold across these 9 games. More than 60,000 fans were from interstate, and they travelled over to Adelaide for the weekend. So a huge success in terms of tourism, in terms of revenue, and in terms of growing the game. And now it will stay in Adelaide for another 3 years before it possibly becomes a national concept and moves across to other states. Plenty of news around in the other codes as well. Obviously, the NRL still continuing this weekend over East. The Raiders defeated the Dragons 20-14. The Eels currently lead the Bulldogs 4-0 at the 22-minute mark. In the A-League, Wellington Phoenix and Brisbane War played to a draw, 2-2. And Sydney FC leads Perth Glory 4-1 at the 73-minute mark of their clash. Still to come today, Adelaide United and Western United. Pretty much across town at Hindmarsh. That's at 4:30 local time here in Adelaide. On the Super Netball front, speaking of Adelaide, the Thunderbirds had a victory over the Vixens by 11 goals, 61-50. Also, we saw the Fever defeat the Firebirds by 2 goals, 73-71. And at the moment, we're in the midway point of the second quarter between the Swifts and the Lightning. And there's the Sunshine Coast that lead 28-24. Plenty happening across the country. Great to have you with us for this weekend. Obviously, there is still one more game to come, which starts in about 14 minutes' time. It is Collingwood and St Kilda from the Adelaide Oval. The second game of a double-header that we saw yesterday and will continue on today. A sellout crowd there, obviously spread out across the 2 games. Earlier today, we saw Geelong defeat West Coast in the end. I'm trying to pull up the scores here, but I think reception at Norwood has basically just died now that everyone's jumped on their phone. But the Cats defeated the Eagles by 47 points, I believe, 21-10 to 136. 21-10, 136 to 13-11, 84. 4 goals to Jeremy Cameron and Tom Hawkins. So a big result there for the Geelong Footy Club, who've had a slow start to the season, but completely rolled Hawthorn in the back half of last weekend's game. And now a comfortable victory over the West Coast Eagles would certainly kickstart their campaign and their premiership defence as well. I'm trying to see if there's any late changes for this game to come at the Adelaide Oval, because I'm led to believe that Jordan De Goey is going to be late out for the Collingwood Football Club. He didn't board the bus over to the Adelaide Oval, so expect a change there from the Magpies front. And if you do want to hear the call, you can jump on the ABC Listen app. It is confirmed an illness for Jordan De Goey, so he's out alongside Reef McInnes and Jack Ginnivan and Tom Wilson, the 2 inclusions for the Magpies. Meanwhile, St Kilda unchanged heading into this evening's contest. Here at Norwood Oval, really could go anyway at the moment. The Giants, as we mentioned in the pre-game, have had an odd season that have still got plenty of talent in their midfield. Their bookends have some stars, but there's still some youth being injected. The likes of Aaron Cadman making his debut this afternoon, but they've lost by an average losing margin of 14 points the last 3 weeks. Haven't been overly impressive, and it's a similar story this afternoon, leading by 8 against the Hawks, who are easily one of the bottom 2, bottom 4 sides of the competition at the moment. But the Giants haven't put them to bed. They've had certainly a lot of opportunities with their inside 50s, but it's anyone's game right now as you look towards the second half. Aaron Bryans and Neil Cross with you for the call. Your experts, All-Australian Crow Scott Thompson, Port Magpies Premiership player and coach Stephen Williams. The Hawks don't play well in third terms, which is my only concern, Tomo, as we head towards this third quarter. So far this year, 24 goals to 1.
Wow. Yeah, you would love to be a fly on the wall in the change rooms just to see how they do address that, or if they do address that and make it a focus. I think they have to. Like, to be so poor in a third quarter of football the way they have been this year, they have to address it and have some form of response. And I'm really interested to see how they come out and confront the third quarter now. They're probably lucky to be as close as they are. The Giants had plenty of opportunity to put more score on the board. And then they let the Hawks back into the game, in the back half of that second quarter. So it makes for a really interesting third term.
Yeah, it does. It's the experience that the Giants have around the ball has probably been the difference. But the Hawks have looked dangerous going forward. Bruce always looks dangerous. He's he dropped that sitter that we thought, well, there's a goal, but then he took a really nice contested mark 5 minutes later, and the Hawks were able to convert. So. And whether Sam Mitchell does something different with his players at halftime, I'm not sure. When you're so bad in the third quarter, there's only one goal over, and this is the 5th game of the year. It's an unbelievable statistic. So, if they don't address it, the players certainly would be very aware of it.
The flip side of things with the Giants, we saw last week, obviously Essendon probably should have rolled them by a lot more, but were incredibly inaccurate. Adam Kingsley absolutely unleashed on the players at three-quarter time. We don't often see sprays like that. Tomo, do you like that kind of approach by a coach when it's needed?
If you're thinking old school, I don't mind it. It's an individual thing as well. You get a real reaction and response from some guys if they cop a good spray. Others will retreat and go into their shell even more. Well, I think after that spray last week, I think the Dons kicked the first 3 of the last quarter.
The thing is, if there is a spray today, we will hear it. We
certainly will.
We'll be able to just shut up, listen, and they'll only be a matter of some 20 metres away.
But the thing is, you need to know your players, and if Adam is convinced and is confident that his players can handle it, well, fair enough. They played poorly, and it's a man's game, and you should expect to face some criticism. It's like anybody in a job. If you're not doing a good job, you need to be told about it. And although it looked pretty outrageous, we don't know what he said, so it might have just been a forceful way of saying a positive message. So, from the outside looking in, it looked like a full-on spray, but it may not necessarily have been.
I think the saliva leaving his mouth told us it's a fair spray.
I would love to know if he's in the same mentality heading into the second half, because the Giants have been wasteful. Issue with the Hawks, Cam McKenzie has got the vest off, so I think the sub has been activated. It looks like Chad Wingard has not come back out, so he had a cut to his tongue. It's obviously been significant enough that he's now out of the game.
A cut tongue, and had been very quiet up until that point in time. Only the 3 possessions in the first half.
Probably a bit stiff not to actually win the free kick when he actually got that cut tongue. He looked like he had marked the ball and probably been hit around the head, but the umpire played it on, and it's disappointing, and that's a big loss for the Hawthorn forward line, because we all know Chad Wingard, when he's on, he can turn it on, and he can blow a game apart.
Cam McKenzie may be a good part of pace to be injected in, though, the youngster.
Yeah, Wingard probably would have given the umpire a mouthful, but obviously with the tongue it was a problem.
Bit tongue-tied, or just couldn't talk, one of the two. But whether it is just a case of, a handful of weeks ago he did have a calf issue where he did miss some footy, played as a starting substitute last week and came on throughout the game, and whether it was a plan coming into this game to start him and maybe sub him, who knows, but whether the tongue has played a role in him being subbed out.
McKenzie, meanwhile, he's actually had a ripping start to the year for a pick 7 at 19 years of age. He's averaging 16 touches a game. And there was some shock amongst the footy community that he was out of the 22 this afternoon, and Sam Mitchell clarified that by essentially saying he was going to be the sub, and it's mainly just a management thing, so he only has to play a half of footy this afternoon, and we'll get to see what he has to offer here at Norwood, which is exciting.
And the other Hawk that needs to get into the game, CJ, we know what a great rebounding defender he is, and he's only had the 6 disposals up to half-time, so he's a guy that needs, particularly for a small ground like this, his ability to run and carry the footy. He gets the ball in the half-back line, uses his legs through the midfield. He can get the ball deep inside forward 50, so I'm sure he's somebody that the Hawks need to give the ball to so he can carry it.
Tom Green, meanwhile, this afternoon, it's his 50th game. He's coming along magnificently, the pick number 10 at 22 years of age. Averaging 33 touches a game. He's got 20 at the half already. Most impressively, though, there's a fair few of those contested, 9 contested possessions for Tom Green, and 8 ground ball gets as well. So he's a bull for a kid. He's going to be something special.
He is. He's a big, strong body through the middle of the ground, and 50 games today. He plays more like a 200 gamer with just a cool, calm head, and his ability in traffic just to get out of that and release someone into time and space with his creative hands, but also a great user by foot.
Do you like the fact that it's supposed to be a Giants home game here? Obviously it's not. They're away from home at Norwood, but just got the binoculars up on the crowd, and there is so much brown and gold out there. just so much of it. And obviously a lot have travelled across from Victoria.
That's what happens when you win 4 premierships in 8 years or something like that. So you get a lot of supporters, and there'll be a few Norwood people that followed Paul Piopolo that was a bit of a legend at Hawthorn as well.
So we're underway in the second half. It's the Giants by 8 points after they trail by a point at quarter time. Warple out of the middle gets first possession. Down to Mackenzie, who's just come onto the ground as a sub, and ball held in tight. A couple of players went to ground. Mackenzie was surrounded by Ash, couldn't get it out. Ball up.
Reeves entangled with Flynn, won it down in the path of Newcomb. Trying to get boot to ball, it ricocheted out towards the eastern side. Cornelio gathers, hands it back. Sold Ward into incredible trouble. Was immediately bowled over and brought to ground by Warple. Ball up to come just inside the centre square.
Reeves is doing a good job in ruck. He's certainly getting his hand to the ball a lot more and giving the Hawks the first look at it.
Flynn wins it down to his skipper, ex-skipper I should say, Cornelio. He's wrapped up by Newcomb, so we're not going too far. It is the smallest venue of the weekend, the smallest venue in a long time of premiership points in terms of the width, Norwood, and kind of expected some more scoring, but it has been a low goal affair so far. And again, we're not travelling too far from this ruck contest either. A bit of a pylon, about 6 bodies on top of the footy will get another ball up.
A lot of congestion, and that's maybe impacting the scoring that's going on today. It's probably more a contested brand of game than these two may generally play.
Flynn with a tap down. Ward struggled hard. Now he's got a flick out hand pass to Ash, who runs through for the Giants and sends it inside forward 50. Toby Green may be the target. Off the pack it comes to him. Then he gets nailed in a tackle, forced to release the hand pass. Kennedy in the pocket. He rolls it towards goal, but Gath was there and saw it through for the minor score. Hardwick will bring it back into play for Hawthorn. Just didn't have an option. He wanted it. He had it in his hands. Now he's considering what his options are.
Led up towards right half back. Good kick. Finds Sicily alone. Just had some space on Himmelberg. Close to the light tower. Over $11 million put in the upgrades here at Norwood. Looks spectacular. Down the line he goes. Kick was poor. Popped it up, hoping Moore would get there across the side, but wasn't really a chance in the end to beat Taylor. Long ball up towards the left forward pocket. Hogan's caught behind. Tried to spoil, but can't beat Frost in the air. Hawthorn with the footy. Right back pocket. Tried to move it on quickly, but he'll be sent back behind his line. Hawks trailing by 9 at the moment.
They're looking inboard to try to get that switch going, but the Giants have done pretty well to clog up the centre of the ground.
It's wide to Mackenzie, just inside the boundary out there on the eastern side. Norwood Primary School in the background. He goes long down the wing. And from behind, Bruce flew, went through his hands. Iden picked it up for the Giants. His hand pass was meant for Whitfield. He missed him over the boundary line to get another throw in. So that beautiful old scoreboard, it's got a bit of advertising on it, but it tells the story of the afternoon. Giants 5-8, GWS 4-5. We've gone through 3 minutes of the second half.
Toss back in. Flynn in front position. Put it in the path of Tom Green, who shoves poor Connor Nash over the boundary line and close to the fencing. We'll get another boundary throw in. The Hawks at the moment kicking to the left of your radio dial, the Roger Woodcock end, northern end. The Giants out to the parade end in this third term. Currently leading by 9. Toss back in. Flynn wins it down at the toes of Kelly. Left it in the end for Hamilton. Wrapped up by Warple. Couldn't get it away. Free kick Hawthorn. The Warpedo just forward of centre wing. Living up to his hype after a quiet couple of years. Heads into the right forward pocket. Underneath it, Haynes.
Great mark, wasn't it? Just stood strong, protected from the back by Taylor. Did a great job, and yeah, wonderful one grab mark.
Just brave knowing that Green was right behind him. Looks for the switch now. Mark in the defensive goal square by Taylor. Now out wide, Iden, right back pocket. Giants trying to move the footy. It's a slow approach at the moment though.
Had a pretty good game, Connor Iden. Had 15 disposals.
On the 45, it wasn't 15 to Whitfield. Put him under a bit of pressure, but he got it back to Iden. Kicks in front of us here on the broadcast wing. Hogan and underneath the footy. At the back was Kennedy though. Gave it to Cornelio. Had no idea Mackenzie was coming. Just got it away to Flynn. Now a fight for the footy on centre wing. Hogan brought down. Gathered clean though. Got it to Flynn. Turned into a Newcomb heavy tackle. Brought the big man down. Again got it away though for the Giants. They're retreating. Just racing back. Almost waving the flag. Kelly to Cornelio. 1-2 with Iden. Cornelio, handball over the top, a hospital one. Sold Haynes into trouble. He did very well. Paddled it out wide to Ash. Pierces it forward. Here's Ward. Great counter, end to end. Kennedy can go from the attacking edge with a booming kick. Left forward pocket. Fly. Grab in the air. Clean mark taken. Toby Green soared through the Norwood sky and takes it 25 out. 45-degree angle to the left.
What about Steve Cornelio then? We were wondering what he was doing for a start. He was running backwards the wrong way, handballing it, getting it back, but it was risky. But once they took the game on and got through the centre of the ground, it opened up, and that was great attacking play from the Giants.
They retreated from centre wing deep into their D50, but just a cool, calm head by Cornelio. A couple of handball received just to get the numbers up a bit more.
They did it the hard way, but Toby Green will finish the easy way. He has his second, and the Giants push away. 15 points their lead. The game high was 18 in the last term. The Giants now 6-8-44. The Hawks 4-5-29. 6 minutes into the third on Grandstand AFL.
But we did see, Stephen, as we touched on with Cornelio, cool, calm head deep in the back 50 there to release by hand. Water was then able to open up through the middle of the ground for the Giants and to get a deep inside 50 entry, and we know how good overhead that Toby Green is for his size, and then to go back and convert. But high risk, high reward with Cornelio's play from deep in the back 50 there.
I thought Adam Kennedy actually might have spoiled it a bit because the kick was an up and under, but Toby Green read it so well, got to the front and took a really nice mark.
So 15 the margin in favour of the Giants, and Hawthorn have a bit of work to do. Back in the middle, Flynn jumped into his man and then took it away out of the ruck contest down towards half forward. Jath couldn't take the mark, and ball on the ground, tackle made by Peatling, and he'll get up off Ward, and Ward will surrender it to the umpire right at the point of the square at right half forward for the Giants.
Meek put it down the throat of Warple, but he had multiple Giants around him. Whistle on the play. Ward taken high. Free kick at left half back. He almost backed up there into Peatling. The Giant could have offended. Instead, the whistle stays away. On the 45, Warple just takes it low to ground, sliding in. Cornelio with him today, but feels like the Giants certainly winning out at the moment. 23 touches. Warple heads up to left half forward. Attacking edge of the square to a pack behind Reeves. Got hands to it, couldn't control it. Fall of the footy, Tom Green. Trying to soccer away. Brewster's in there as well. Almost a bit of tunnel ball as it comes out. Charging through long. Couldn't get a clean disposal. Now Callahan for the Giants. Hands it out. Wrenched away by Taylor. Got it to Toby Green. Over the top to Cornelio. Weaves through Ward. Now Tom Green. Forward to O'Halloran behind centre wing. Underground handball to Callahan. Just couldn't finish. It was a nice little chain there. They got out of the high pressure situation, but he's tackled over the boundary line. It'll be tossed back into play.
Just look a bit cleaner, don't they, under pressure and around the contest when there's a lot of players around. The Giants' hands have been really good to get themselves out of trouble.
Giants by 15 points, 8 minutes into the third term. Ball comes to the front of the ruck contest. Again, lots of players around the ball. Halloran picks it up, and he can't get it out. And again, there were 10, 12 players around the ball. Now Halloran will surrender to the umpire. Slow to get up, it was a heavy tackle. So, ball in the air. Offhand it comes. Callahan got it, just plonked it forward, straight into the hands of Hardwick for Hawthorn. So the intercept mark in the left back pocket. He looked immediately to his right, see if they could switch it. He hasn't been able to. The umpire will now call him to play on.
Gets around Toby Green and sends it high towards the square. Again, plenty of height. Speaking of, Cumming flew, spun in the air but couldn't bring it down. Spills out to Morrison, uses Warple. Now Meek weaves through Ash, then gets it back to Warple. Off a step, he goes up to half forward. It was a hit in hope, really. Long couldn't get there in time as Haynes back with the flight intercepts for the Giants. Now looking to switch across defensive 50. Finds Buckley. Now out to right half back. Here's Callahan. Calls for some options. O'Halloran delivers, but his kick was a bit dangerous. Sat on top of his head for a while. Warple almost threw a fist out and infringed in the process. So O'Halloran's ball anyway. Game underway at the Adelaide Oval, the final of gather round. The Saints on the board first against the Magpies. Brad Crouch with the opening goal, 1 straight 6. If you do want to hear that, jump on the ABC Listen app as the Giants now head up the broadcast wing.
Flynn got it from the bottom of the pack with a hand pass out to Tom Green, sent it forward. Toby Green just dived in, took the mark right on the 50 at centre half forward. heading to the parade end of the ground. He decides, well, I'll go back and have a look. I don't think he can make the distance.
I've seen him kick a few torps, actually, at Giants Stadium. And, if he gets onto it, there's no question he could get there.
Does the Matthew Lloyd, just throws a bit of grass in the air just to assess what's there. Not much breeze this afternoon after some inclement weather we had yesterday and then last night at the Adelaide Oval. But it's pretty good this afternoon. Toby Green arcs out to his right from 51, gives it everything he's got. He's going to reach just to the left. So he got the distance. And he adds to the scoreline. 6-9-45 now, plays 4-5-29. Giants, after 10.5 minutes, have a lead.
Dangerous exit to a pack at left half back. Gathered cleanly by Warple. He got it out to Nash. He receives it again, little 1-2 with Amon. Brockman keeps it in play as he goes back to Frost. Torpedo all the way from left half back to left half forward. Double fist from Buckley. It's old school footy right now between these two young sides. Ward can gather for Hawthorn. Gets it to McDonald. Beautiful kick into the path of Green. Leading wide. He wheels around immediately. Kicks across the goal face. He's spotted a target and hits Bruce. Tight angle. Basically on the right behind line. He'll open the angle on the left. Luke Bruce finishes his first of the afternoon. Hawthorn answer back. 10-point game at Norwood. The Hawks 5-5-35, the Giants 6-9-45. 11 minutes into the third term on Grandstand AFL. Aaron Bryans, Neil Cross with you for the call. Your experts Scott Thompson and Stephen Williams.
I was starting to get a little concerned there for a while. 11.5 minutes into the third quarter, and that was only their second inside 50 for the quarter. The Hawks have now got 2 goals in third quarters for season 2023.
But it was just a great kick, wasn't it? We saw the Hawks for most of the quarter just blazing away, but they're actually able to win the contest around a bit of heat and get it to somebody in the right position who was able to have a bit of a calm head, look forward, and it was a really important goal because the Giants looked like they were getting on top in this game.
Well, they're ranked 17th for kicking efficiency, Hawthorn, and they lose the inside 50 count by an average of 11 a game. So you can see why they're battling in front of goal. Out of the middle, it'll be O'Halloran with a free kick play on advantage. Off to Cornelio with a forward hand pass. He sends it over the top to Lloyd. At centre half forward, inside 50, wasn't the greatest of kicks. Morrison picks it up for Hawthorn. Then Frost on a run, a 1-2 with Ward. And then he handballed straight to Callahan of the Giants. Back towards the 50. And the mark taken by the first gamer, Cadman. So he's right on the arc of 50. And he's a left footer, so he goes out to the left side and then sends it into the forward pocket, and Hogan comes out, takes it up in front of his eyes, and he didn't give his opponent much of a chance. He'll have a look at the goals. He's just to the left and maybe 35 metres out.
Yeah, well, Aaron Cadman showed us that he's a beautiful kick, isn't he, on that left foot. He just was able to put it up out in front of Jesse Hogan, and Jesse was licking his lips with that one, but not sure what Frosty was thinking there coming out of the Giants forward 50. Kick the ball rather than just handball it to a contested situation.
Jesse Hogan hit iffy in front of goals. This for his third of the afternoon, hit the right goal post. So just a minor score, and puts that margin back to, or up to 17 points. So the Giants by 17 points, 13.5 gone in the third term here at the beautiful parade ground, the Norwood Oval on Grandstand AFL.
Long ball. Huge clearing kick there from Hardwick, all the way through the spine into the centre circle. It's bounced out wide towards Warple, who's wrapped up by Haynes. Can't get the footy away. Good tackle that held it in. Ball up, but they've already made their way to right half forward off the back of a couple of touches.
That was a good tackle. It was really smart. It didn't fall into his back, just did enough to cause a stoppage.
Meek wins it down straight to Newcomb. Got it off to McKenzie, the sub on for Wingard. Heads into the right forward pocket. Bit too long for Fergus Green. Takes a bounce and over. Boundary throw in to come. If you are just joining us across the afternoon earlier today, Geelong defeating West Coast by 47 points. Collingwood currently leads St Kilda by a point at the Adelaide Oval in the opening term. And Gather Round has been confirmed to return to Adelaide for the next 3 years. Toss back in. Himmelberg wins it down in the ruck contest. Gathers his own footy as well. Got boot to ball only as far as Newcomb. He gathers at 45. Dummies around Haynes. Heads all the way home. Magnificent. Jai Newcombe out of the contest.
Giants are saying that was touched. So it'll be interesting to see whether we get a replay on that.
It'll have to be off the boot, yes.
Off the boot,
goal
yeah.
line was clear as day.
Yeah, they'll review every goal, but just Hawthorn were really well set off the back of that forward 50 stoppage for him. It's an outstanding finish there by Newcombe, and he had to because he did have guys to the outside that he could have released to. But to take responsibility himself and put it through the big sticks was an outstanding finish, and if it was touched, they will review it.
If it wasn't, it'll be a 5-point lead to the Giants, and Hawthorn, after their third quarter woes so far in 2023, seem to have found a solution. Umpires don't seem too phased. Everyone's setting up like we're getting ready to go. So I'm going to say the Hawks are now 6-5-41, the Giants 6-10-46, 15 minutes into the third.
But you know the score, Aaron, because I got it wrong before. So I said it was 17 the margin, it was 11. Now it's been cut to 5, and Hawthorn's got the centre break as well. Down towards half forward, off hands it came to Ward, gave it out to Nash, hand pass quickly under pressure to Amon. Amon into the forward pocket, Fergus Green leads and takes the mark, looking over his shoulder. So he's only about 25 metres out, but the pockets aren't all that deep here at Norwood. And we know the ground's not that wide, so he's going to back up over the boundary line, but he's got a good angle to work with.
Great kick by Carl Amon too, under a bit of pressure, just put it out in front. There's plenty of space to run into.
So Fergus Green already has 2 on the board. A little bit of a trot in. He goes out to his right, hooks it slightly and perfectly as it turns out. So 3 for Green, and Hawthorn have snatched back the lead. A remarkable turnaround in the third quarter. Sorry there, Scotty, just give the score. It's Hawthorn now moved along to 7-5-47 to GWS 6-9-46. 16 minutes gone, third term.
Yeah, nice quality finish there too for his third for the day to get over and celebrate with the crowd. But we've just in the last couple of minutes just started to see a momentum shift Hawthorn's way. And I'd love to know whether Hardwick's got the licence just to run out of that defensive goal square and drop a barrel straight down the middle like he did. Maybe it was a Nord Oval thing. Maybe it's just another way to get some more inside 50s in a Hawthorn third quarter.
They had 1 goal for the entire season in third terms heading into this game, and now Hawthorn have 4 and have taken the lead. Great to see these young Hawks shining in the middle. Reeves won it down, looking for Nash, fell into the footy. Couldn't control it. Tom Green now put down. Had his arms pinned by Newcombe as he fell forward. Could have been dangerous, but he fell on his chest. Ball up to come, close to centre-half forward for the Hawks. Tossed up here at Norwood. Great crowd, plenty of atmosphere. Reeves wins it down. Toby Green rather's boot. Kick was smothered. Dylan Moore gathered, handed it forward. Brockman shakes a couple, then skies it. Highest point of the game so far. It sits up at the top of the goal square. Taylor came out to meet it, couldn't control it. Knocked it out wide to Hamilton, tried to get it off towards Whitfield. Cut off by Moore, he's taken high. Weaved through a couple. Hamilton stuck an arm out to try and stop him. And Coate hanged him. 20 out, right forward pocket, tight angle, and Adam Kingsley is filthy.
You could see the disapproval on Kingsley's face in the coach's box there, but Hawthorn's intensity has certainly gone up in the last 5 minutes, and the Giants need to react to that.
So Dylan Moore will start on the paint of 50. As I mentioned, man on the mark, about 25 out. He'll kick from 30. It's just carrying across the face, minus score on the left-hand side.
Poked it there, didn't he?
7-6-48 the Hawks. The Giants 6-10-46 as we approach time 1 in the third on Grandstand AFL.
Ball comes in from Whitfield, plays on and then kicks long on this eastern side. Big leap, almost brought down by Meek. And then he just tapped it forward and they'll get it inside 50 with a deep entry from Amon again. 20 out from goal. He comes off hands to Hamilton. He goes out the eastern side quickly looking for Peatling. Close to the boundary, overran the ball. Big mistake. Now the first game of Mitchell taken down in a tackle by Peatling. They're fighting hard close to the boundary. Hawthorn get it back under control and they'll go back inside attacking 50 through Newcombe. Good pass. The lead up from Brockman. And he looks around about options, but I think he might fancy a kick for goal. No, hands it off. Sicily coming round his back. And Sicily goes just about all the way, about a metre short, off hands, smothered. And the Giants will get a chance to come away from their attacking 50. Whitfield, though, mowed down in a tackle. And the umpire says we'll put it in the air. Moore, the tackler, content with that.
Tossed up, one down by Reeves. Only as far as Whitfield, who tries to charge his way through. He's not the bull that we saw last night, Tom Liberatore, in game 200, and he's held up immediately. Another ball up to come.
Really flipped on its head this game, hasn't it? The Giants looked like they were doing it easily, but just left a few goals out there, and now the Hawks have got their confidence up.
Reeves down to Moore, he flicks it wide to Newcombe, faked going for goal, then gave it off. Big spear again. Taylor is completely driven his opponent into the turf. Poor Josh Ward. It doesn't matter because Hawthorn will get another entry inside. It's bounced off the chest of Long, becomes the tackler. Had a couple of opportunities here, the Hawks. They're peppering. Already up by 2. Wasteful off a couple, but it feels like it's their game right now at Norwood. They've certainly got the majority of the support. Sat down Long, fell into the footy. Cumming was tackling him in the process. Umpire had a good read on the game there. Had a bit of poor decision, I think, if he'd called in the back and instead calls ball up.
Yeah, it was good umpiring, wasn't it? The Hawthorn player certainly threw himself forward.
So the ball goes down Nash. He slipped a hand pass back. He did well. Ward with a snap off his left foot right across the goals from the right forward pocket into the left forward pocket and over the boundary line. Will get a throw in. We're peppering the goals, Hawthorn. Matter of efficiency now. They lead by 2 points. 21 into the third term. In comes the ball. Flynn in the ruck brings it down. Moore was slung to ground. And still, it's Iden comes through. There was holding in there. And it will be Reeves who's penalised. It'll be Flynn with the relieving free kick, the ruckman for the Giants.
You can hear how close to the action we are. I can actually smell the heat rub downstairs from the benches. And the ball's headed our way as well as they exit. Sicily comes out, takes the intercept marks for the Hawks, and it's going to go right back where it came from. The backline general. There's a whistle as he played on. I believe Toby Green has encroached where Sicily was standing, and the 50-metre penalty will go to the goal square. There's a bit on as well down there. James Sicily will be marched all the way to the top of the goal square now for his first goal of the season. He slams it out of the venue.
That could be on our car roofs, that one.
Free footy for someone on the parade.
I think he's kicked it to Paynham Road for those that are from Adelaide.
Yeah. The Hawks have 4 in a row and are up by 8 here at Norwood Oval. 8-6-54. The Giants 6-10-46. Time on in the third.
Do you know what that free kick was for?
No, not sure. It certainly wasn't against the man on the mark. It was something that happened down inside the forward 50. But it was very costly, and then another one on top of that took Sicily to the goal line. So, yeah, this game, as I mentioned before, has flipped on its head. It's as though the players have changed jumpers. What the Giants were doing well in the first half of the quarter, the Hawthorn are doing well now. So it's really important now with, what have we got, 5 minutes to go in this quarter. The Giants really have to stick it fat here and try to get a goal back.
Well, Hawthorn couldn't buy an inside 50 in the third quarter through the first few rounds, let alone a goal in the third quarter. They've sprung to life now. Out of the middle, it's Whitfield for the Giants, though. Down to half forward, finds Ward, and then Ward chips inside 50, and Jack takes the intercept mark ahead of Peatling. So Hawthorn will take over it just behind the half back on this eastern side of the ground. Jack called a play on. High he goes. Flynn and Meek battle. I think there was a handoff then, and then it was out on a full. So maybe a bit of football karma there as the Hawthorn managed to kick it out on the full after what was a throw in close.
Haynes will take the footy, call for some options at centre wing and head towards the attacking 50. Getting a run at it, Hogan. Toby Green was in front position, couldn't control it, spoilt away and over the boundary line at right half forward for the Giants. Rare inside 50 opportunity for them this quarter. James Peatling, just the 5 touches this afternoon, 3 behinds for the year, and at VFL level he wasn't really great before heading into this game either. He barely touched the footy, so just looks a bit out of place in this 22 this afternoon. Flynn takes it out of the ruck, hands it to Toby Green. Handball was about a metre as he tried to get it to Cornelio, didn't reach him. Tom Green now brought to ground in the tackle by Nash. Whitfield dives in, he turned it over to Warple. The Hawks through McKenzie now. Got it out wide, Long fumbled, became the tackler as he drives Kelly to the deck. Ball up to come through centre wing, close to the logo. In front of us on the broadcast side.
There's a few of the players out there got a future in rugby union, the way they were rolling that ball forward. Now off the ruck contest, hand pass forward to Ward. I'm sure he was taken high. Hamilton followed up, and then Peatling with the tackle. Did he slam illegally Newcomb into the ground? No, said the umpire. And so we will get a throw in. Newcomb slammed over the line.
I'm not sure what Callum Ward, why he wasn't given a free kick there. That would look pretty obvious to us.
So on we go. 8-point margin in favour of Hawthorn. Meek off the ruck contest. Comes to Newcomb. Released it for Warple down to half forward. And Brockman picks it up nicely for Hawthorn. Gave off the hand pass. What a tackle. Brought down solidly was Long for Hawthorn, and it forces a ball up. And it'll be his last up who's going to surrender that. It was Cumming who made the tackle. Jeez, that was a good tackle and so necessary.
Plenty of pace as well. Heading into that tackle, just completely stopped him dead in his tracks. Reeve wins the ruck contest. Nash gathered, and not sure how much prior he had, but Tom Green immediately was on him, spun him to the ground, holding the ball.
Yeah, that's stiff. I think Razor just impacting the game himself there.
Short 45 was shallow to the toes of Whitfield. His handball is dangerous. Nash is charging onto it, gets it around the back from Tom Green, gave it to Morrison. Newcomb clotheslined at centre half forward. Poor tackle there. Cornelio stuck one out. Jai Newcomb has it. 55 out. Could have the distance from here. Already has one this afternoon. He'll give it off. A spearing kick, almost a bullet. Pretty high as well. Didn't really hit more, and at the back was Flynn. He wasn't really expecting it to reach him, but takes the intercept mark. Gee, there was a lot put on that footy. Now Cumming pops it short to Tom Green. Still in defensive 50. Plenty of touches. Green out to 25. Gets it to Cumming. He's trying to weave around Morrison. He's put himself in trouble here. Dinked it away, but dropped it with the tackle. Turned it over to Nash, who gets it to Long. Off a step. Meek will snap it across the face. A minor score on the right-hand side. The Hawks look electric at the moment, and they're up by 9 as we approach three-quarter time.
Yeah, this is all off the back of just great pressure on the ball by Hawthorn, and the Giants haven't been able to match it. So they've allowed Hawthorn to play forward half footy just through pure intent and pressure on the ball.
Ash plays on and goes long from the kick in. Offhands it went to Kelly. Just slipped the hand pass over the top for Lloyd. Thought he was out, so did the boundary umpire. You could tell because, you know, we could have reached out and touched the ball. It's not very far away from our broadcast position. But it's at left half forward for the Hawks. They've had a big third quarter. 8-7 plays, 6-10. 28 ticked over in this third term. Grandstand AFL at the parade. Off hands it comes. Brockman. Hand pass forward. Iden intercepts for the Giants. Then to Cornelio. And then Ward off his left foot. Across the ground he goes to the eastern side to Callaghan. And the Giants get away from their defensive area, but only just. Ball goes out of bounds at left half forward.
Score check at the Adelaide Oval. Collingwood leads St Kilda by 6 points heading into quarter time. 2-2-14 to 1-2-8. And earlier today, Geelong defeating West Coast by 47 points in the first game of the doubleheader there. Gather round confirmed to be in South Australia for the next 3 years. Locked away thanks to Peter Malinauskas and Gillon McLaughlin. Off the ruck contest, Newcomb to Nash. Kicks down the eastern side. Wasn't great. Straight towards Buckley. He looks inside to Haynes. The Giants with the footy at the defensive edge, trailing by 9 at the moment. Into the centre square they go. Here's Ash calling for some options. Finally gets a late lead rather. Callaghan takes it on the logo. Pops it over the top to Whitfield. Tacking edge, spins around Long. Heads high towards the left forward pocket. Hogan's getting a run from the side. Himmelberg caught behind. Spilled down to Seamus Mitchell, who's been quiet since the opening term, and his kick was pretty poor as well. Tumbles over the boundary line right on the arc. He'll be tossed back into play inside the Giants attacking 50.
Boys, Jai Newcomb really starting to assert himself from the game. Up to 9 disposals and a goal for this quarter. 22 for the game, but when you look at him, he's built like your suburban footballer, isn't he? So the parade really suits his style.
He was taken in mid-season draft a couple of years ago as a ready-made. That's the way he looks. So more off the ruck contest, just slides the ball down the ground, intercepted by Taylor for GWS. And there's Newcomb, and then the jump up right at the point of the square at half-back, handed it off, and there was spillage from Mitchell. He gave it back to Newcomb. He found some space to find a hand pass towards Nash. He goes down the half-forward. It was a good kick. He's got Long there, so he's forward of the centre square, just Long. Inside 50, wasn't a great kick. Buckley intercepted eventually. Gave it off to Ward, and they're running off half-back. Whitfield takes the mark inside the centre square for the Giants. Buys himself a bit of a time, goes to half-forward, or at least ahead of centre wing to Toby Green. He had one loose inside 50, and Himmelberg takes the mark wide out in the shadows of the stands.
They're just cool heads. The more experienced Giants players were able to get the ball in their hand, and what an important this kick is. Harry Himmelberg will be kicking from on the 50-metre line probably. So tough kick on a tough angle after the siren.
Well, remember that he likes to arc around, and that's what he's telling the umpire. I am going to kick over the man on the mark, which I have to do, but to do it, I want to go in at an angle. So he moves out to his left so he can arc around and get a little bit more weight behind the kick. He's going to have to kick at 55.
I'm going to back him in.
Okay, this is his distance, we know that. Harry Himmelberg, after the siren for three-quarter time. In he comes, bang, it's high, it's long, and it's hooked to the left. And it's just going to sneak in. Yes, for the minor score. So three-quarter time at the parade. We have a big contest, and it's the Hawks leading the way. 8-7-55. The Giants move along to 6-11-47. Just confirming that, yes. 6-11-47. The manual scoreboard a little slow to move. Three-quarter time at the parade.
Goal scorers for the Giants, 2 to Hogan, Green, singles to Cadman and Himmelberg. For the Hawks, 3 to Fergus Green, 2 to Amon, singles to Bruce, Sicily and Newcomb. We were told Collingwood and St Kilda at the Adelaide Oval would be the game of the round, but at the moment it is Hawthorn and the Giants with the smallest margin of the weekend so far. 8 points were set for a grandstand finish on Grandstand AFL.
With the ABC Listen app, you can take the footy with you wherever you go. Off to walk the dog?
Take the footy.
Going camping?
Take the footy.
Picnic in the park?
Take the footy.
ABC Sport's expert coverage of the AFL
Incredible grab.
and the NRL. Every goal, try, mark and tackle, live and commercial free.
He bounces it through.
So whatever you're up to,
Take the footy.
take the footy with you on the ABC Listen app.
You're listening to the AFL Gather Round
Grandstand AFL.
on radio
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Kennedy can go from the attacking edge with a booming kick. Left forward pocket, fly, grab in the air. Clean mark taken. Toby Green. They did it the hard way, but Toby Green will finish the easy way.
Amon into the forward pocket. Fergus Green leads and takes the mark. A little bit of a trot in. He goes out to his right, hooks it slightly and perfectly as it turns out. So 3 for Green, and Hawthorn have snatched back the lead.
Sicily comes out, takes the intercept marks for the Hawks. Toby Green has encroached where Sicily was standing, and the 50-metre penalty will go to the goal script for his first goal of the season. He slams it out of the venue.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
A clash at Norwood between 2 bottom 4 sides, but for the winner today, there'll be a game out of the 8, and they're playing like everything's on the line. At the moment, it is the Hawks by 8 points, 8-7-55, plays 6-11-47. Hawthorn generally pretty poor in second halves, but they've turned up this afternoon at the parade. Ripping crowd in attendance, predominantly in their colours. The Giants need to find an answer to keep their season alive. Adam Kingsley is frustrated, as are their senior players. The Hawks up by 8, 8-7-55 to 6-11-47. Aaron Bryans and Neil Cross with you for the call. Your experts to preview this final term and maybe get some predictions as well from you gents. Scott Thompson and Stephen Williams.
Stephen, I don't know what Sam Mitchell must have said to Hawthorn at half-time, but it certainly worked. It was a bit iffy early in that third quarter, but for the majority, they've been able to gain momentum and certainly hit the scoreboard. And I tell you what, if I was Adam Kingsley, I'd be bitterly disappointed with what the Giants produced that quarter, and I wasn't watching him then, so I don't know whether he delivered another spray, but it certainly makes for an interesting last quarter now.
Well, it does. It looked to be all the Giants, didn't it? We saw them skip away to a 17-point lead, and it looked as if they were going to go on with the match. They were dominating it. They had Hawthorn certainly under control, but it's amazing momentum in the modern game, how the game can turn so quickly, and all of a sudden the Hawks were able to get a goal, and then the tails were up and away they went. They were able to win the ball, and Newcomb was the man that was getting a lot of the ball around the clearances. He's had 8 clearances, so a game high 8 clearances, and he was the man that was able to start the play up. Sicily was starting to control across the half back line. CJ was getting his hands on the ball a bit, and all of a sudden Amon was running. They were hitting targets inside the forward 50, and they were able to make the most of the last probably 20 minutes of that quarter. So what is it? It's a 8-point lead to the Hawks going into the last quarter. I think the Giants are probably kicking with a slight breeze to the scoring end. 9 of the 14 goals have been scored to the northern end. So the Giants certainly have a lot to play for and need their second win for the season.
They do have an X-factor waiting in the wings as well. Their sub, Harry Ralston, hasn't been activated yet. Meanwhile, the Hawks made theirs at half-time with Mackenzie coming on for Wingard. Score check at the Adelaide Oval, the final game of the round between Collingwood and St Kilda. Scores are level at quarter-time, 2-14 apiece. If you do want to hear that, jump on the ABC Listen Out. Otherwise, we're taking you through to the end here at Norwood. As you can hear, it's a booming atmosphere, largely because of the speakers. Well, that's Crossy, but also a great crowd as well.
I can confirm that Adam Kingsley, the vein was bulging in the neck, but there wasn't quite the hand waving or anything like that went on when he sent his last message to his players before they broke for the final quarter.
So all set to go. A thrilling finish coming your way on Grandstand AFL. Hawks by 8. The Giants will be under immense scrutiny if they lose 4 in a row. Still with so many young picks who are now senior players. High bounce in the middle was great. Favoured Reeves. It did stay in the circle, but it will be recalled. The Giants this quarter kicking to the Roger Woodcock end. The Hawks, the parade end. It's tossed up, charging through Warple off the ruck tap. Held up immediately in a Cornelio tackle.
First goal so important too. If Hawthorn are to get it, it almost becomes a job too far for the Giants.
Reeves again wins it down. Warple again extracts it. Kicks up towards half forward. On the bounce, Haynes came out to meet it, but his handball wasn't clean. Tackle laid by McDonald, who does well to turn Iden and hold things up at centre half forward for the Giants.
So right at centre half forward. Ball goes in the air, off hands taken by Kelly, just over the shoulder with a kick. Peatling took the mark, played on immediately. Whitfield was running off half back, received down to half forward. Hogan takes the chest mark. Just below us on the eastern side. At half forward, swings around on the right foot, sends it in long. Jaff came over the pack and crashed down. Granger Barras put his head over the ball, was taken high. The first game of Cadman, the offender for the Giants. So Granger Barras, later inclusion in this game. In he comes with his kick down the line, looking for meat. Interesting mechanism of Flynn getting up high, involved putting his hands on the shoulders of Meek, and the umpire said, well, that's a free kick.
Yeah, the big fella doesn't seem to have too much natural hop in those legs, does he?
No.
I think he's a mummy clone, isn't he?
Yeah. Cadman's looked good on debut, hasn't been dominant, but we've seen some great signs in the first game up. Down the line go the Hawks. It wasn't a great kick from the ruck. I say rucks can't kick. That wasn't the best one. Straight to Lockie Whitfield in the centre square. The turnover for the Giants, trailing by 8. Sends it long, back towards the arc. Front position. Crunched was Impey, spills to the back. Flicked out by Sicily to Jaff for the Hawks. Now Amon, out towards Long, left back pocket. Heads towards the boundary line. Nice kick. Favoured Morrison. Now forward to McDonald. The Hawks trying to exit defensive 50. They had so much pace and dare in the third, and feels almost like they're trying to hold on to a lead at the moment. Kick out to left half back to Newcomb. He marks up against Hamilton. Not a lot ahead of him though. The Giants have largely flooded the eastern side. He'll go long, closer towards the square. Packer waits, Reeves front position. Off hands, spilled down through Taylor. Walpole gathers. Here's that quickness. Out to McDonald. Now long. Takes a bounce to 30. Heads towards home. Finishes. Hawks by 14. Exceptional from the 20-year-old Ned Long. Hawthorn look up and about at Norwood. 9-7-61. The Giants 6-11-47. 3 minutes into the final term on Grandstand AFL.
Yeah, and that's off the back of it. Good mark by Newcombe on the back half of the ground, and then Walpole through the middle of the ground, who's had an outstanding game, up to 27 disposals to win that ground ball and then release the ball forward by hand to release someone into time and space. An end result, 6 points, and it certainly makes life a bit difficult for the Giants now.
Yeah, it's the task now, isn't it? It was just a great handball from Walpole to be able to scoop it up, give it to Newcombe, who was able to hit his target, and then an easy goal there for Long. So, the first one to the Hawks. Giants really have to dig deep now.
They'll start it with Flynn, who perhaps had the better of the tap. McKenzie picks it up and couldn't get it a clean disposal away from the pressure that came from Cornelio, who picked it up, hand passed it back to Kelly. He goes long off the left foot for the Giants, and forward comes Toby Green, couldn't complete the mark. Hand passed into space, Morrison took it away. He's caught in a tackle, couldn't get an effective hand pass. And it'll be a free kick to Lloyd for the Giants. And he's going to march back. He's straight in front, 40 out.
Good kick of the footy too, so distance won't be a problem, but really important the Giants can hit back straight away, and nice work by their more experienced players to clear the ball out of the middle. And Toby Green, terrific effort to try to mark the ball and then to win it when it hit the ground.
Doesn't he go at the ball strongly in the air, Toby Green?
Daniel Lloyd, just 1 goal, 2 for the season. Playing mostly off the wing this year. Has no problems completing the task, though. Lovely finish. The Giants get one back, badly needed. And the Hawks still remain in front. The margin's been cut back to 8 points. It's 9-7-61 for Hawthorn, 7-11-53 for the Giants after 5 minutes of the final term on Grandstand AFL.
One thing Daniel Lloyd can do well, he's a beautiful kick of the footy. He missed an easier one in the first quarter, but that was a great conversion, certainly one the Giants needed.
Could go either way here at Norwood. A lot of Hawks fans in attendance who'd be nervous. They know where their side's at the moment as it's trying to build towards the future, but to be a win out of the 8, I'd be very happy with how they'd sit, especially after the performance this afternoon. Flynn wins it down. Tom Green pushed as he kicked it, rolled towards McKenzie for the Hawks. Hands it out to McDonald. Nice little fend on Cornelio. Looks to switch across the centre square. Amon was very good in the air. Under pressure from Callahan. Handed it to Nash. Heads into the 50 for the Hawks. Big fly from a couple of Giants defenders. Sitting at the back was Green, but he fumbled. Now brought down in the tackle. Long holds things up for the Hawks. Ensures they'll get another chance off the stoppage inside the attacking 50.
Gee, that was a great grab by Carl Amon. If that ball went to ground, the Hawks are in a bit of strife there.
Reeves with the tap down. Neither side effective disposal. Cumming was caught in a tackle. McKenzie had it. Ball was smothered. Nash with a hand pass back. Newcombe was caught. Had to release it back to Nash. He went further back to Meek. Shortest of kicks. Called to play on with McDonald. He had to. He only took 2 steps, and then a ping-it goal away to the right. So the minor score and the margin in favour of the Hawks to 9 points. And we've gone 6.5 minutes in the final quarter. We're at the parade in suburban Adelaide in the Norwood precinct. In the final, well, there's all but one of the games in gather round as the Hawks battling to hold on to this lead. And they've got it out towards centre wing. Running back was Frost. His hand pass released towards Giath. It's caught in close. They spring it free, GWS. They did it pretty well. Brockman was forward of the play and then kicked it out on the full.
Poor kick. They were really worked hard to win the ball and release a loose player, and that ball should have been at the top of the goal square, but just under a little bit of panic off the side of the boot.
So both subs activated now. Wingard off for McKenzie, Kennedy off for Rouston. The Hawks head out to the eastern side. Front ball position rather. Meek won it down. He was looking for Bruce, couldn't control it. Coming through Tom Green, slapped away out of his hands by Jaff. Barging through Nash, couldn't pick up the footy, but certainly disposed of a couple of bodies. And now Jaff breaks away, tried to dummy around Ralston, who didn't buy any of what he was selling. Kicks in a hurry, back. It's bounced back by the Giants towards their 50, but Sicily's waiting for it. Handball forward with a couple of chains. Nash now to McKenzie. Just finally clears the area. Out to left half forward. It was a hit and hope. Reeves wasn't going to get there. And Buckley can intercept for the Giants at right half back. He'll now switch as they head towards this broadcast wing in the path of Callaghan.
Callaghan was good. He went to turn in and then went out to his left leg on this eastern side. Down the line, Toby Green got his man Sicily under the ball. Backtracks on it, approaches 50. Got a good bounce, went to goal. Oh, great finish. Excellent finish. Toby Green at his best. And the Giants are very much in this contest as they move along to 8-11-59. And the Hawks still maintain a lead, but only just 9-8-62. Toby Green with a brilliant finish from the angle, and he gives the Giants fans a bit of joy.
That's the class, isn't it, Toby Green? Just the way he actually protected the space where the ball was going, and he was on James Sicily, so he's on no mug. Just run him under the ball, then turn back on it, one control, summed up the situation, and then from a pretty tight angle straight through the middle. So yeah, really a big captain's goal. Giants are starting to look a little bit better around the ground ball now. They're getting their hands on it, putting pressure on the Hawks, and yeah, we've got ourselves a really exciting game.
The voice of Stephen Williams, Scott Thompson, your experts, Aaron Bryans and Neil Cross with you. 2-point game at Norwood. It's over-delivered in a way, this contest. Flynn wins it down, charging through Cornelio, sandwiched and brought to ground Newcomb. Nash both combining for the tackle to hold things up just outside the circle. Tom Green's almost directing traffic, only in his fourth year. Flynn wins it down, straight to Newcomb though, tackled immediately, dropped the footy, battling with Aish, coming through Ralston, little 1-2, trying to use Hamilton, went to ground, sliding in Newcomb, fell onto the footy. Umpire gives him the benefit of the doubt, ball up to come. Right half back for the Giants, trailing by 2. Hawks chant breaking out on the outer side. Flynn wins it down. Hamilton lost it in the tackle. Coming through Meek, couldn't control it either, the big ruck. Slapped forward by McDonald. Nash is driven forward into the turf. Whistle, only for a ball up.
It's a really tough contest now, both sides. The intensity has really risen, and they know how important this last few minutes is.
Flynn with a tap down. And came out of there somehow to Morrison for the Hawks. He sends it along inside 50, leading up virtually and taking the ball. Taylor, intercept mark, straight away moves it for the Giants. They've got it to centre half back, and it's taken by Ash. He wants somebody to provide him something short. He decides to flare it wide into the shadow of the stand. And he had coming. He dropped it back inside for Iden. Now, Iden's at the back end of the centre square for the Giants, and every Hawthorn player's in front of him, just defending the area zonally. He kicked it along, it came off the pad, and it went to the first game of Mitchell, who put the ball on the boot quickly for Hawthorn, out on the full, on the broadcast side. So right next to the brick wall, it'll be a free kick for Lockie Whitfield of the Giants.
Looks inside, coming offers and receives. Now on the 45 to Haynes. Nice ball movement here from the Giants as they creep forward. And all of a sudden a big switch as Haynes booms it out to the eastern side to Iden, who was all alone centre wing. Called to play on, he stepped off his line. He'll head to the right forward pocket in front of the scoreboard. Sicily may have been held. Hogan came across, brought it to ground. Ralston's kick bounced off the back of Impey. Spills centre, about 35 out. Head over the footy. O'Halloran had 4 to beat, can't control it. Busting through, Granger Barras, the youngster, did very well under pressure. Got it to Morrison, and now out to McDonald at left half back. Pierces it down the line and turns it straight back over.
Sam Taylor's had a wonderful game.
Handed it off to Toby Green. Speaking of wonderful games, the skipper heads into the right forward pocket. Hogan plunks it in the air. Jesse Hogan, 20 out, 45-degree angle to the right. Big goal here for the Giants, who could retake the lead for the first time since midway through the third.
Just Sam Taylor's ability to intercept. He's had 8 marks today, and a lot of those have been intercept marks, but he's been really strong, and he was a player that was able to halt the Hawks and send the Giants forward. Now it's up to Jesse Hogan to finish the deal.
Jesse Hogan already has 2. This will be the most important, and he sprayed it across the face. Minor score for the Giants, 1-point game at the parade, 9,057 in the house for a thrilling finish in the penultimate game of Gather Round.
Still got 11.5 minutes to go, so there's plenty of time for both sides, but Jesse shouldn't be missing goals like that.
Well, the ball in, and then it was Amon came across the front of a pair of competitors and just smashed the ball into the crowd.
I'm not sure that's the kick in Hawthorn one. That's the second time today that Hardwick's played on out of full back and gone the barrel.
Oh, good. I thought it was my eyes. He did try and barrel it.
And he didn't get it either. It was a shocker.
Ball comes back into play. Reeves had good position, tapped it down. Newcomb slapped it out, then a hand pass from Moore was intercepted by Tom Green. They got it to Callanan, but his left foot kick was spiked back over the line after it was smothered off the boot. So we get a throw in. It's still at left half forward for the Giants. Just repeating that score. Hawks 9-8-62. The Giants 8-12-60. A 2-point margin, 13 in, final term.
Toss back in. Reeves down. Himmelberg was there, couldn't control it. Nash flicks it out to Moore. Now back. Amon uses Warple up to right half forward again. Buckley got around Green, nearly took the intercept mark. Didn't matter because Iden was there with the assist. Got it to Cumming, down the line, hits Peatling, has Kelly all alone on the outside. Time to run to the arc. Centre is kicked to the top of the goal square. Hogan flew, but the last possible moment, Granger Barras, the former pick 6, 21 on Monday, again has delivered when it looked like the Giants could kick away. He's floated from the side and knocked it over the boundary line.
Deep forward though for the Giants. In comes the ball. Hogan, and then just sock it off the ground by Warple. It went straight to Rouston, and he goes bang from about 40 out, hooks it to the left. Minor score, 1-point game. Hawks lead by 1 point as we approach 15 minutes in the final term at the parade.
The Giants peppering the goals, and they've got all the momentum at the moment, holding up really well across half-back, the likes of Taylor and Cumming controlling back there.
McDonald took the market defensive 50 and bursting onto the footy. He's handed it off to Seamus Mitchell. Now out wide to Impey. Through the logo he goes. Takes a bounce across the benches. They're surging the Hawks. Amon inside to Newcomb. They've gone end to end through a handball chain into the 50. Off hands Brockman straight in front for the finish. End to end footy from the young Hawks. Composed in the late stages of this tight contest, and they're up by 5, up by 7 I should say rather. They kick away to 10-8-68 to 8-13-61, 15 minutes into the final term on Grandstand AFL.
The only way they were going to get through, wasn't it? Just to take some chances to kick the ball hard and low, hit your targets, play on quickly, and they were able to get over the back of the Giants zone, and the handball was a little bit iffy, but they were able to get away with it, and yeah, that goal was against the run of play.
It certainly was, and they did generate a handball chain, and I think it was a Newcomb handball about 15-20 metres inside the forward 50.
I think it was further than that.
Yeah, very clever little tap on it, a classy finish against the flow, and it's now 9-4 inside 50s, but Hawthorn been able to score 2 goals, 1 from the 4 inside 50s.
I think if the Hawkers who tapped it on had actually taken it, they may have paid it as a kick. It was a 25-metre hand pass. They've taken it out of the middle again. Warple down to half forward. It's knocked away, picked up by Brockman. Inside with the hand pass for Morrison. Morrison goes deep for the Hawks, and sitting at the front of the pack was Cumming. He brought it down. Now Buckley got the hand pass away to Iden. He cleared the area. It's coming again for the Hawks. Not quite. Warple picks it up. Hand pass out to Meek eventually. He kicks it inside 50 again. Big contest down in front of the goal square again. Callahan comes through and gives the hand pass off to Cornelio for the Giants, and they clear it out to the eastern side towards Toby Green. Over the boundary line. Could have been a push in the back there on Green, but the umpire said no. Over
Toby.
the line, throw it in.
Toby didn't get the 50-50s.
You could see what he was trying to do there, just tap it and turn sharply and get back onto it.
Boundary throw-in to come. Could go either way at this stage. The Hawks by 7. Plenty to play in this final term. Reeves wins it down. Seamus Mitchell got a kick away to half forward. Cumming was waiting for it. Gathers on the bounce and gives it to Hamilton. The Giants now out to the eastern side. His kick was touched. Floated from Morrison. Gathered. Back at the flight. His kick was a bit shallow for Amon. Put him under pressure. In the tackle, he got a handball out to Nash, who shrugs a couple. Last moment, he's brought to ground and lost control of it. Free kick to the Giants. They'll take the advantage. Callahan heads into the 50. Hogan tried to use the body, but again is outmarked by Frost. His kick to exit is poor. It just sat up in the air for Jaff. Outmarked by Halloran. What was he thinking? The Giants to go back inside 50. Halloran to the top of the goal square. He's made amends. Frost floats across to the intercept, but again he's coughed it up. A handball that went nowhere near Morrison. Toby Green swarms in, capitalises by giving it to Hamilton. He snaps from the pocket and misses absolutely everything.
Geez, Jack Frost, a couple of beautiful efforts on the aerial ball. Mate, just pump the brakes and take the heat out of the ball. You're deep in your D50.
7-point lead to the Hawks. We've still got 8 minutes to play at the parade.
Experience of Hardwick in the back pocket on the scoreboard flank. Decides just to take his time, sends it high to the eastern side from behind. He's coming who knocked it down. Warple came through, had to release in the tackle. It's out wide, then Bruce tried to push off one. Umpire call play on. Kelly picked it up for the Giants inside forward 50. They all come at it. It bounces to the side, picked up by Lloyd. Snap across the shoulder. Left hand post hit firmly. Another minor score. And there's a good opportunity there for Lloyd, but he's reduced it to a 1-goal game at 19 minutes into the final quarter. We're almost to time on, and there's just 6 the margin in favour of the Hawks, who've brought it in quickly.
The past few weeks, it's been the Giants' opponents who've kept them in the game with an accuracy. Now they're the offenders. Sicily heads long up the broadcast swing. Buckley was sitting underneath it, can't control it in the pack. Spills to ground, tackle laid on Moore. Ingleberg brings him to ground. We'll get a ball up in front of the benches. True centre wing right in front of us here in this City grandstand. Tossed up. One down by Reeves. Straight tap to Ward, who spirals it with a low kick up to half forward. He hit up Fergus Green. He doesn't waste any time. There's a one-on-one in the goal square. He'll send it down the long. Nearly took it on the chest. Bounced out though. Bruce spun in the tackle. Lost it to the Giants. Clearing kick comes from Taylor to Haynes in the left back pocket. They can settle, but they're still trailing.
That was great work again by Sam Taylor, just to be able to get a fist in there. Looked like the Hawthorn player was going to mark the ball long, but great work, Taylor.
Crossed into time on. Haynes comes down the centre wing. Kicks it, comes off hands to the back to Impey. He's rolled in a tackle by Himmelberg. He wanted a free kick. The umpire wanted the ball. Threw it in the air. Reeves towards the boundary line, picked up by Kelly. Snapped it down the ground. Ball falls to the back. Impey read it best. Off to Jaff with a hand pass. He goes back down the line. Another contest. Good take by Moore. Oh, he played on. Hold up. No. Plays on under pressure. Hooks the ball over his shoulder. Inside attacking 50. But a good mark, an intercept mark by Haynes. We know his value to the Giants. He's given the hand pass off to Ash. Here's the team that can't waste any opportunity. Whitfield goes down the middle of the ground. Not good, favours Jaff.
Not sure who he was trying to target there. Jaff, the handball back to Sicily. Retrieved it again. Didn't realise, Sicily, that there was 2 Giants players waiting. The tackle laid by Cornelio, and they'll lose it. Free kick to the Giants for holding the ball. Cornelio at centre half forward. The skipper, Sicily, has undone the Hawks here, and Cornelio will dink it into the 50 to Hamilton. 45 out, he'll share it as well. Kept running. Ward receives it, scoreboard pocket. Now 35 out.
Just a couple of cool, calm heads there, and unbelievably well read by Cornelio.
What a tackle, eh?
Sicily took the ball, just had to draw him, but Cornelio could see what was about to unfold, release, and stuck a great tackle.
Callan Ward, an inaugural Giant, their game's record holder, to level the score. He finishes. The veteran at his best puts it through. 68 points apiece. The Hawks 10-8, 68. The Giants 9-14, 68. Still 5 minutes to play here at the parade.
It was just a perfect example of Hawthorn had the ball and they just panicked. They wanted to play on all the time. The inexperienced players just didn't have the cool heads just to go back and slow the game, whereas the Giants, they had their experienced players with ball in hand and just made the right decisions at the right time.
I'm just wondering whether that's an instruction, because we saw it from Frost deep in the back 50 a couple of times where it looks like they want to do everything at speed, where we've seen a couple of occasions now where the Giants have won the ball, able to have that composure piece and just execute at the right time.
Callan Ward, 275 games of experience. He's become the franchise player for the Giants. It's back in the middle. And it was Warple off the ground. He just socketed forward, intercepted by Whitfield for the Giants.
It's got better as the game's gone on too, Lockie Whitfield. This is a boy, you want the ball in his hand.
Now Whitfield plays on and just sends it long, very long. He's looking for Toby Green. He forced it to the ground, hand pass over his head in hope. It went to Sicily. He bombed it back. It's higher than longer. Ball comes to ground though, slipping through with a hand pass. It went to Newcomb and then wide. He's found Bruce, the veteran. Oh, he tried the little chip over the top. It was almost intercepted. He gets it back again. Received a hand pass from Brockman. Inside forward 50. It's come to Moore around the corner. And Moore kicks the goal. Oh, time stood still just for a moment. And then Moore saw his opportunity. And I'll tell you what, he didn't hit it real well, but he got it across the line. And they get back in front, the Hawks. So they move along to 11 goals, 874. GWS 9-14, 68, 24 gone in the final quarter. What a thriller.
There's a lot of tired bodies out there now, and I thought initially it was a great press on the ball by Haynes just to get a finger on that. It wasn't pretty by Hawthorn, but a bit of fatigue in the back half by the Giants just allowed the Hawks boys to have a little bit more time and space.
I thought Tom Green was a bit stiff on that outside there. They basically just run into him as he was trying to mark the ball, but the umpire called play on.
We've seen a bit of everything across this incredible weekend, but this could take the cake. We're down to the wire here at the parade. 6-6-6 warning for the Giants. It'll be balled up in the middle. Flynn wins it down to Tom Green. Handball clear. Hughes coming, now out wide to Cornelio. Heads to the top of the goal square. Pack away. It's amongst all the bodies. It's been clunked in the air by Hogan.
They would have liked a 50, Tom, on Jesse, I reckon, because his kicking hasn't been brilliant today. He's got 2 goal threes, so...
he had a case.
Yeah, he did have a case. He marked the ball and was thrown to the ground, so it probably should have been 50, but surely a player of his ability doesn't miss from 20 metres out straight in front.
He's done incredibly well in the pack to pull it in, and now the goal is on a platter for him. Hogan comes in from 30, straight in front. He's made it work and he's missed. Jesse Hogan may have just cost the Giants the game here. Still 4 minutes to play. It's the Hawks by 5.
And Adam Kingsley cannot sit still in that coach's box.
Oh, that's just inexcusable to miss a goal like that.
Strategic point, perhaps, by Hogan.
Maybe.
Could be a 7-point play. Hardwick plays on from fullback, sends it long. Reeves was at the front, couldn't take the mark. In tight, Nash got it, just thumped it forward. It only goes into the hands of Cumming. So Cumming back into the centre square for the Giants. They're coming again. Tom Green goes across the square. Ash takes it. Plays on immediately. Newcomb can't go, or rather McDonald can't go with him. Ash goes deep forward again. Hogan pushes one out of the way. Got his hands to the ball. To the front it comes. It's off to Callan Ward. It's up to him again. Callan Ward goes long. It's on the line. It's gone through for the minus score. It's a 4-point game. Giants 9-16-70. They'll rue their missed shots to 11 goals, 8-74.
Still got just under 3 minutes to go, so still plenty of time.
The Giants are doing everything possible to steal a win, but convert in front. Hawthorn clear out to the broadcast wing. Taylor brings it to ground. Reeves becomes the tackler. Head over the footy was Buckley. Will get a ball up just inside the centre square. We're between left half forward, centre wing for the Giants, who are currently kicking to the Roger Woodcock end here at the parade. Razor Ray tosses it up. Reeves wins it down, looking for Warple. It bounced off him, back to the ruckman. Handball wasn't clean. Ripped away by Tom Green for the Giants to Callahan. Heads back to the top of the goal square. Himmelberg fronts the pack. Toby Green was front and square. On the left, he's skied it. It'll sit up on the goal line. Jack gets back and should have taken it, but it's bounced off his chest and through for a minor score. 3-point game. Hawthorn up at the parade with 2 minutes to go.
Tom Green, once again, just his ability to extract the ball and get a little handball to set somebody free has been great today.
They were sharp hands, weren't they?
Hardwick goes long to the eastern side, off hands and over the boundary line. Coming from behind there, long to its shore. No mark was taken, so the ball's still in the front half for the Giants. They've been camped forward in the last 5 minutes or so. After Hawthorn kicked that goal at the 24-minute mark through Moore to take the 6-point lead, it's been sliced to 3. Toby Green off the pack again, off the left foot, high inside 50. Oh, Himmelberg! Up on the shoulders and took a chest mark. And there was a bit off the ball too, involving Hogan and Frost.
Should have been 50 for the Giants.
So
Jesse Hogan got dumped.
So that's why he was upset at Sam Frost.
But he wouldn't want to retaliate now. He's missed two gimmies.
Now, after all that, it'll be Himmelberg. And Himmelberg and Hogan have had some problems in front of goal this afternoon. Himmelberg for the lead. Comes in, happy with the result. It was punch in the air before the ball had even gone halfway the distance. So the Giants get a late one. 29 minutes into the final quarter. It's the Giants 10-17-77. They've finally snapped their losing streak in front of goals. It's 10-17-77 to 11-8-74.
Well, great grab by Himmelberg. We saw him do that in round 1 against Port, I think it was. The Crows. And we know he can jump, but I think that almost matches that round 1 mark he took.
Particularly for the situation. A minute 30 on the clock. So, still time for a clearance and a shot at goal for either team.
It's had a bit of everything, this contest. Mark of the year potential. 90 seconds to play with. Giants by 3 in the middle. Reeves wins it down over his head. Beautiful tap to Newcomb, who bangs it on the boot in hope towards the right forward pocket. Out to meet it coming. Just put his hands out on the bounce, hoping to control it. It ricocheted off him.
He did well.
And he's tackled over the boundary line. It'll be tossed back into play right half forward.
Yeah, that was brilliant by Cumming to attack the ball and be able to trap it calmly and just force a stoppage.
So we're at the Giants attacking half at the parade end. The Hawks attacking half rather. Reeves wins it down and Newcomb caught in the tackle. Spilled out Cornelio, socket off the deck. Only as far as Amon missed it with a fresh airy. Newcomb can gather though. Got it to Hardwick. Pushed as he kicked it inside 50 for the Hawks. Moore can't claim it. Falling onto the footy, McDonald just flicks it up, hoping for an opportunity, but Lloyd is there. He'll bang it just to get territory away. Sitting back, Frost juggled it and dropped it. He needed to hold on to it. 40 seconds. Frost inside to Warple. They're down by 3. Warple kicks to half forward. It bounces to Impey. He shrugs the tackle, gets around Callahan from 55. And scored all the way on the line. The goal umpires are unsure. A pack awaited. Have the Hawks won it in the dying moments? We're going to a score review.
Not sure what the soft call was.
Impey with the kick on the line.
It looks touched, does it?
It looks like
it's touched.
It's touched.
Yeah.
On the last line.
Who was that? Himmelberg, was it?
The hero at one end. And a champion at the other. Harry Himmelberg has got hands to it at the last line.
33 seconds to go, so yes, still time.
The Giants by 2. They just need to clear it here. Out to right half back. Pack away. It's big fly and taken in the air by Hogan.
That should be it.
He's been brilliant today, Hogan, in the air.
Yeah, he has, hasn't he? Beautiful, clean hands. He's had 6 shots at goal, but only put the two through.
He'll send it to right half forward. Their bigs have stood up in the dying stages. It clears the back. Green kicks it straight to Reeves. Maybe one last roll of the dice. Impey gets it to Frost. Hands it to Nash, who fumbled. Just has to go, but he's gone backwards. Morrison kicks up to half forward. The Giants win. The Giants win a thriller at Norwood. They hold off the Young Hawks and remain in the hunt for finals. GWS win by 2 points. 10-17-77 to 11-9-75.
Well, there's a big, big sound from the west of the town. It's the sound of the mighty Giants. Feel the ground is shaking. The other teams are quaking in their boots before the Giants. We take the longest strides and the highest leap. We're stronger than the rest. We're the greater Western Sydney Giants. We're the biggest and the best. And we will never surrender. We'll fight until the end. We're greater than the rest.
The Young Hawks gave it absolutely everything they had. But the maturity of the Giants in the big moments delivered. Harry Himmelberg with a Mark of the Year contender to kick the winner and then go straight to the other end to ensure Jarman Impey's long bomb didn't get the Hawks over the line. GWS win 10-17-77 to the Hawks 11-9-75.
Well, there's a big, big sound from the west of the town. It's the sound of the mighty Giants. Feel the ground is shaking. The other teams are quaking in their boots before the Giants. We take the longest strides and the highest leap. We're stronger than the rest. We're the greater Western Sydney Giants. We're the biggest and the best. And we will never surrender. We'll fight until the end. We're greater than the rest.
Heartbreak for Sam Mitchell's Hawks, but the Giants now 2-3, a win out of the 8. They led by 8 at half-time, but it was the Hawks who were up by 1 at quarter-time and 8 at three-quarter-time. It could have gone any way. Harry Himmelberg delivering in the clutch moment. A goal for his second right at the end. And then at the other end, getting hands on the last line to rush through a minor score. GWS winners by 2 points at Norwood. Neil Cross is headed downstairs to get the song. In the meantime, the thoughts of our experts, Scott Thompson and Stephen Williams.
Yeah, well, Steve, what a thrilling game of footy, the way it played out in the end. And, I mean, over the course of the game, both sides certainly had their opportunities. The Giants almost kicked themselves out of it, so probably the deserved winner. As I was just watching what seems to be, and no doubt, a deflated Sam Mitchell, but he's got over to every single one of his players and pat him on the bum. They'd be bitterly disappointed, but I think the Giants deserved the win in the end, and they almost kicked themselves out of it in that last quarter.
Yeah, I agree, Tomo. I think the Giants they had 27 shots of goal to 20, so they would have been stiff to lose, and they did their best to kick it away, didn't they? In that last quarter, had 2 or 3 really gettable opportunities. Jesse Hogan was a bit of a villain there, missed a couple of sitters, so he would have been very pleased. And to his credit, he was the guy that took that mark that probably iced the game with a few seconds to go. But probably not the greatest game we've seen, but the fact that it was close for most of the game and then right down to the final siren, it certainly kept the crowd enthralled. So, 2 wonderful games at Norwood, and I'm sure that the local community have had a great day here.
If you're Sam Mitchell, Tomo, you'd probably take a lot out of this in terms of positives. It's heartbreaking they didn't get over the line, but they looked incredibly electric in that final half.
Yeah, they'll certainly take a lot of learnings and growth out of this game, if nothing else. Their third term was by far the best for the season so far, and whatever they addressed then certainly put them back in the game. And to hit the lead and control the games for periods through that patch was a certain positive for Hawthorn, but the way the Giants certainly played out the game and controlled it really in that last quarter, where their senior heads stood up and they had that calmness when they had ball in hand to just take the speed out of the game when they had to, find the right option and then generate speed back in the ball at the right times. And you know, for the majority of that game, it was last quarter was probably played in their forward half, a lot of inside entries compared to the Hawks, and we spoke about the only thing that cost them, or nearly cost them the game, was their inability to finish in front of goal.
Tom Green, 32 touches in the end for the youngster. He's going to be a star of the game. Stephen Cornelio, 31 for the former skipper. He stood up with his maturity at times. As you mentioned, there was a game-saving tackle almost at half forward that ultimately resulted in that Himmelberg mark. And Tom Green in the middle, just a general for his age. It feels like even though there are a few players in this Giants side who are heading towards the end of their careers, they've certainly got the next wave ready to go.
They certainly do. And I mean, Tom Green today playing his 50th game, looks like a 200-game player. Big, strong body in the middle of the ground, but his hands are elite. He's got a great ability, along with Cornelio, they've got great ability to release their hands in congestion and release the ball by hand onto body. So they were both fantastic today.
And Sam Taylor, he was outstanding as well. Just another young player, only 79 games. He was great as well.
So we'll try and get into the Giants room in a moment. Neil Cross is making his way over there at the moment at the parade end. And we'll see if we can get some reaction as well in the next, we probably won't in the next 7 minutes, but we'll do our best to try and get an interview in the post-game. So what a win. I mean, the crowd was really against them as well, the Giants. It was predominantly brown and gold here at Norwood, even though it was an away game. And this whole weekend it has really delivered, to be honest. So this is... this has been an incredible weekend of footy, and this has been a great way to finish it off with the penultimate game here at Norwood Oval. So well done to the Hawks. Well done for the Hawks for what they put out there, but well done to the Giants to win by 2 points in the end, 10-17, 77 to 11-9, 75.
They had 10 shots to go in the last quarter as well, from 18 inside 50s, 10 shots in that final quarter. So they certainly peppered the goals. They were down at three-quarter time, but they just kept battling away. And Adam Kingsley would be very relieved. As a young coach, you know, there's no doubt wins are what you need for your side. And we know the Hawks are young, but the Giants are a young side as well. There's a lot of young players that are just finding their feet. So, you know, they'll take a lot of...
Let's see if we can hear the song.
A lot of that as well.
The Giants winners by 2 points at Norwood. Fans flooding onto the parade. And what's been a very successful weekend here in South Australia. So successful that it's now locked in for the next 3 years. And Norwood has certainly delivered as a magnificent venue across Friday night and this afternoon. And what a finish. It could be the game of the round. Get a quick score check at the Adelaide Oval between Collingwood and St Kilda, which at the moment is looking like it could be the same. A 1 point game at halftime there. Collingwood up 4-4-28 to the Saints 4-3-27. So what a finish to gather round. And the Giants now, well, their season is well and truly alive. A game out of the 8. And to be honest, I looked at their list in the build-up to this game, Steve, and I feel like it's a team that can play finals when it plays well. It just hasn't really connected so far. And Tom Green actually spoke after the loss last week to Essendon and said, we've actually learnt a whole new game style over summer, and they're struggling to put together 4 quarters, and now it feels like they're starting to build towards successful footy.
And it was a lot of the young players today. You know, Tom Green was brilliant today, as we talked about. Sam Taylor was magnificent today, and we saw number 1 draft pick Aaron Cadman debut as well. So there's a lot of blue sky, I think, for the Giants. You know, the experienced players are old, but they've still got 3, 4, 5 years of footy left in them. So you know, if they can get a bit of consistency. Jesse Hogan, you know, he's had 6 shots a goal today, and probably should have kicked 5 at least. You know, 3 of those 4 that he missed were gimmies for a player of his ability, and his hands were really good. So he certainly gives them a lot of confidence. And when you throw Cadman up there, you know, he's the next generation young forward. So, and I'm sure there's a lot of other young guys there as well, high draft picks that we haven't seen a lot of. So if Adam Kingsley can get them bonding together, they'll certainly cause a lot of problems for a lot of teams.
For the Hawks, their midfielders always worried me a little bit. I mean, Warpool has taken the next step this year. He had 35 this afternoon, John Newcomb 31. But it doesn't feel like they have a premium all-Australian type midfielder right now, do they?
No, and that's a real growth area for him. You know, Warpool was a BNF winner a couple of years ago, but hasn't been at his best probably since then, and he's played well throughout the first patch of this season. Newcomb, who we know they got him in a mid-season draft, played well today, but he's not that player that can cover the ground and get to the outside too often. Nash was good through the middle today, but you're right. I think they really just lack that one dominance, and they don't really bat deep enough at this stage. They've got a youthful group, so they don't have a huge amount of experience through the middle of the ground, and whether that's an area where they're just going to try and grow that over the next handful of years, but it certainly is an area of the game through the middle of the ground where you do want some quality, experience, A-grade, mature heads in there, and that's probably a growth area for Hawthorn right where they are at this point in time.
And it's just consistency, isn't it? We saw them against Geelong, started really well, but when you're playing a good side, they're going to, and if you can't maintain that pressure and consistency over the game, you're going to get smashed. And the Giants probably weren't good enough to smash them, but a side like Geelong, Essendon, a few other sides, you know, when the pressure drops, they make the most of it.
The Hawks to play Adelaide in Tassie next Sunday, which is a pretty enticing game. Obviously, the Crows are up and about, but Hawthorn always difficult to beat there. The Giants have Brisbane at home on Saturday. That shapes up as a big blockbuster as well.
Yeah, it's I mean, the Giants would happy to take the 4 points from here today, no doubt, and a huge game. Brisbane are just starting to find their form now. They had a big win against the Kangaroos at Mount Barker Oval yesterday. And then you mentioned the Crows. The Crows have certainly got their tails up and are playing some really good footy. Gave Carlton a bit of a lesson on Thursday night, and big game for them down in Tasmania. And, you know, the Hawks have a huge amount of support in Tassie, so they'll go over there and no doubt try and feed off the energy of the crowd and get themselves up and about. So that should make a good game of footy next weekend as well.
And there's no doubt the expectation will be on Adelaide now, won't it? You know, they're expected to go down there after beating Carlton and getting a win. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle that.
Tomo, Steve, thank you for your company and what was a thrilling finish here at Norwood. Thanks to Neil Cross downstairs as well. To our tech, Stu Baker, who's been incredible across the entire weekend, getting us to air across all the venues. 3 votes to Toby Green, 2 to Jai Newcomb, 1 to Toby Green as well. I'm going to sort that out later with Scott Thompson. But for now, you're back.